rookie narcotics officer Jake Hoyt is in for the ride of his life. Climbing his way up the ladder to detective, the married father to a newborn finds his way into a tryout for an aggressive new squad headed by Officer Alonzo Harris. But Harris is no normal mentor, and nothing is what it seems on the streets. Hoyt soon finds himself knee-deep in a world he can only imagine, and at the mercy of the erratic Alonzo Harris. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 2001's Training Day, directed by Antoine Fuqua.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. Thank you so much for joining us here on the main feed covering Training Day 2001, directed by Antoine Fuqua. Jesus Christ, Fuqua. Fuqua. Colin, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm excited. I'm ready to jump into this because I've never seen this movie before.
I had an inkling. You know, I was just like, man, I don't know if he's seen this. It's not really kind of like his bag. Like, it's not really your kind of like, you know,
police drama,
I guess. Yeah. I mean, like, we'll talk about End of Watch because obviously David Ayer is the link, right?
A lot of similarities,
A lot of similarities, but also a lot more gray in this movie, right? I mean, like in End of Watch, it's all kind of like, it's all positives. It's all
good guys, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's a lot more shades of grey here. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here at Midnight Double Feature. This is another feature presentation episode. We're going to go through Training Day sequentially. We're going to be spoiling it. We're going to be swearing. That's why this is E for explicit. I'm not going to plug anything else. Head to our socials. They're all in the show notes. If you scroll down, whether you're on Spotify, hit See More or hit, if you're on Apple TV, check out the details. But they're all there, all of our socials. If you want to follow us, check them out. But the only
Apple
thing that
TV?
I'm going to plug is that's Apple TV?
Yeah, I was like,
Podcasts.
Apple TV. I was like, whoa, when do we get on Apple TV? That's awesome.
We are on Apple TV, technically.
Oh,
because the Apple
that's
TV
true.
has a podcast app, yeah. But head to our Patreon. Become a member of the Green Room. It's only $5 a month. We don't have any tiers or anything like that. It's just $5 a month. And you can get bonus episodes. We have other things on there as well that I don't really want to spoil, but bonus episodes are the main kind of bag. Mm-hmm. That's where we kind of like get together and talk movies that we don't really feel are necessary for the main feed, but are great episodes anyway. So we have like Freddy vs. Jason, we have The Mummy, 1999, we have a Daredevil commentary, we have House of Wax, we have so much shit on there now. It's actually really growing really well.
Yeah.
We also have Shooting the Shit episodes where Colin and I, or, Matt and Colin, or Colin and Danny will kind of like get together and just talk about life and talk about things.
Yeah.
But it's all like compelling. Like, it's not boring shit like, oh, what are you doing today?
Right. It's not us talking about a specific thing for 2 hours. You get, movies we walked out on. You get like some fun shit in there that's like, oh, I wonder, what they think about XYZ or whatever. So check it out. I mean, it's $5 a month. Yeah,
absolutely. And, we're an independent podcast. We don't have any sponsorship. We don't have any advertising. That keeps the lights on here at Midnight Double Feature. And, it's not easy or cheap to run a podcast. We have money coming out of our pockets for the last 3 years.
We're hemorrhaging money over here. We're like,
yes, we're bleeding dry.
We're a hedge fund just dying right now.
Right. This is like the 2008 housing crisis, except for podcasts.
Right. We got put out by a bunch of Redditors last week, and now we're fucked.
Right. Absolutely. Robin Hood. But anyway, guys, we would love that, if you could help us out in any way you can. If you can't donate financially towards the Green Room, what you can do is rate and review us on iTunes. That helps us so much, astronomically, because, that helps us out on the charts and gets our word out there. If you like what you're hearing, if you want more of it, we would love for you guys to rate and review us on iTunes. All right, let's talk about this movie. Let's get into this. Colin, your first time seeing it, Training Day. Keep in mind that it's 2001 and it is slightly dated, man. Like some of the dialogue in this was rough.
Yeah.
Some of the dialogue is like, ooh, boy, yo, homie, There's a lot of homies in this.
There are, yeah. But I mean, it's not surprising because I mean, even you saying "Hey, homie," it's like this does have this is like a spiritual cousin to like Collateral. Like this definitely feels like a Michael Mann film. You know,
I'm glad you said that because every time, like in my notes, I'm like, okay, so we're back in the car for another conversation, and then we're out here for another kind of like set piece, and then we're back in the car, and that really the structure of it really reminded me of Collateral because. The Collateral is, and I'm so sorry to cut you off. I just kind of hijacked your whole Collateral thing.
No,
but
go.
It's awesome because you have like these big scenes, like in Collateral, the shootout at the club, or like the shootout in the alleyway. But then they're all tied together by these conversations, these very intimate conversations about philosophy and morality in the car with just these two characters. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Mann used Training Day as somewhat of an inspiration for Collateral.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, 100%. And I could definitely see Training Day being like, fuck, it's a really great movie is like Heat or like, Manhunter or something like that. These guys, I feel like Antoine Fuqua and Michael Mann would definitely sit down and have a good conversation,
100%. But let's get into your thoughts as a whole for Training Day.
So, yeah, like I said, I've never really seen this before. My favorite part of this movie is Scott Glenn. Fucking love Scott Glenn, dude, as Roger.
I knew it.
At first, when the door opened, I was like, oh, my God, it's Lance Henriksen. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's Scott Glenn. That's still cool. And I was about to shit because, I mean, you can definitely see, like, a picture of Scott Glenn is like Bishop in Aliens, but also picture Lance Henriksen as Roger. I could definitely see that. They have a very similar kind of like look. Definitely similar kind of acting style as well. But I really did enjoy it. It's very close to being. It's a very, very, very good movie, and it's almost great. Like, and I do enjoy it, and I'm not demeaning it at all, but it probably wouldn't be something that like I own, but it's very close to being that. And that's kind of, if you listen to the show, that's kind of like my mark for like what I consider to be a very good movie. It's something that I would actually go and buy. And I'm not picky about like buying shit. I buy shit all the time, but it's definitely not a bad movie. I think it's really, really close to being great, but there's some stuff that's dated. It is 2 hours long, and it doesn't feel like 2 hours long at some points. Like but there's a lot of, like you said, it's basically just these two guys driving around LA, and there's not anything wrong with that. Look, that's Collateral, and Collateral is an amazing movie. This is just, like you said, not my particular kind of movie, but that's no excuse for what I think of the quality of it. It's just something that didn't, I guess, like personally resonate with me, and I think part of it was also kind of the hype. Because I've heard this is like LeBron James' favorite movie. I've heard a lot of people quoting this to me for like 20 years. And I guess not like I was expecting more, but that's not what I mean. But the hype made this sound like Heat to me. Like it made this sound huge. And I did think it was going to be, I guess, on a bit of a bigger scale. Like Denzel, Ethan Hawke, $40 million budget. I thought this was going to be a lot bigger. I kind of am like, this is a $40 million movie. And you're like, oh, those like Ethan Hawke got like 12 million. Those motherfuckers got paid. So, I mean, I think Ethan Hawke gets 25% of your budget, more than 25%, like right there. And Denzel's fucking probably like, well, if that skinny ass white boy gets 12, I want like 18, dude. There's no fucking way. Cause this is after Philadelphia. This is after Glory, I think was another big movie.
It's after he won his Oscar for Glory. He was already an Oscar winner at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy. Yeah. Cause this is 2001. God knows what he probably made for this. But I did enjoy it. I like Denzel. And what's interesting about this is Denzel has never really played this kind of person again that I've seen. Like I've never seen somebody that was this like, yeah, like Alonzo is a badass and he's scary and he's, cool and he's charming, but he's also really eccentric. And I really like that, and I shouldn't say he's never done anything like this before because I haven't seen every Denzel Washington movie. Like, what's that one that came out a couple of years ago where he's got the crazy hair and the big glasses? I think he's like autistic or something. Like, I don't know.
Roman J. Israel Esquire?
Yeah. I don't know what the hell that's about, but that looks like a very eccentric character. And I think I might be interested in that just based off of the performance.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. I haven't seen every Denzel performance after this, but none that is like this. I don't think there's been a movie where he's been an out-and-out villain. Like, remember Inside Man like, you know, he's the lead, he's the main cop, like, you know, like all of this is he's always been likable. Like, you know, he's always been someone who has a flair for delivering dialogue and for drawing you in and for making you feel sympathetic towards him and just, you know, being electric. And like he uses that to his advantage in this movie because you, like Jake, you kind of like fall in love with this character. Like he kind of like seduces you. Like there are points like, you know, after we get the murder of Scott Glenn's character, he does this huge speech with Jake, and it's just like, okay, so maybe he is kind of like leading him down the right path. Like maybe there is kind of like a, like maybe he really does. Yeah, maybe he does want him to get detective one day. Like, you know, maybe he wants to lead Jake to detective, to actual career, to an actual career, to a good career. But, you know, it doesn't really shake out that way because that's not the character that he's playing. He's actually playing a really slimy motherfucker under the surface. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, keep going. Like,
no. I was just gonna, yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. Like,
can you fucking be done? Because
right.
I'm over
this. You know, it's very close to being something that I would buy. I did enjoy it. It might have been a little bit overhyped for me, but that's okay. It was still a really, really good movie. I'm not a huge Ethan Hawke fan. I'm really not a huge Denzel fan. Like, Denzel's good, but except for, you know, he's kind of the same guy in a lot of shit. Like, and that guy is cool and a very good actor. You know, John Q, Remember the Titans, like that time when I was growing up, Denzel was huge. And it makes me want to go back and be like, God, if Black Panther were made in the 90s, it's like, would it be Denzel? Would it be Denzel? Would it be Wesley Snipes? It definitely wouldn't be Will Smith. Will Smith is too, you know, no. There's something goofy about him I just can't get behind. But I guess it's Fresh Prince kind of ruined that for me. But who would be Black Panther? I'm like, dude, it's got to be Denzel or I just said his fucking name.
Yeah,
Wesley Snipes. Yeah, thank you. Those
Eddie
are the
Murphy.
only. Yeah, Eddie Murphy. Jesus, dude, maybe Charlie Murphy. That guy. Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker. But either way, I definitely enjoyed it. There's a lot of cool shit. Like, you know, the guy who's the cinematographer for this did like Avatar. He did like a lot of like really, really big shit. You know, the guy who did the music, I think it's Mark Mancini. You did a lot of cool shit. You did like Bad Boys 2, T3, Tarzan and Jane, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I was like, okay, cool. Training Day, The Outer Limits.
With Hans. He used to work with Hans at his company.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, this guy did a lot of cool shit. So it's really kind of that. It's the story's cool. I like the main actors in it. It's great, but it's kind of like the outside stuff, like the cinematography, the music, Scott Glenn, the minor characters in this, and the world building is outstanding. That's the world is their backdrop is a character in and of itself. And one of my favorite scenes is actually the one with Scott Glenn, and we can get to that because I definitely have like some meat on that bone. But all in all, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. I'm glad that we watched it. It's not something that I would revisit like a whole bunch, you know, but I think it was mostly worth the way it's been hyped up for me. So it's good. It's good.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm glad to hear you liked it because I was watching this and he's either going to like this or he's really going to hate this because, you know, like I said, some of the dialogue is a bit dated, and I know you don't love kind of like over-the-top characters or over-the-top acting, and Denzel is very big in this movie. Like, is playing he's playing Alonzo huge in a huge, big, bad way.
It's almost too much at some. It's just enough to where it's almost like, man, you're so charming, and then he does something I don't like. Where he goes a little bit too far, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're a bad guy. I don't like you. But I secretly just don't like how far he's gone with it.
Yeah. So the reason I chose this movie was because I love movies like this, and I'm going to compare this to Sicario a lot because this and Sicario have a lot in common. I know you haven't seen Sicario, and I don't want to spoil it, but the lead, or rather the likable lead in your movies, in both movies, are kind of like along for the ride, and they're paired up with someone who is shady and someone who knows so much more and is more experienced and is more world weary than your lead. And they're kind of like leading them to a place that they don't want to go to. Like they keep like questioning their morals on their way, and they keep questioning, shit, like, am I doing this for ambition or am I like about to cross a line? Like, you know, like with Sicario, it's like Emily Blunt's character Kate in Sicario is kind of like strung along by this shady guy played by Josh Brolin, and you don't know who he is, you don't know what his motivations are, but she is told that he is a law enforcement officer that is really good at his job. He's very efficient, and he could potentially make her career.
Mhm.
And that is not unlike this setup, right? I mean, like, this is it's in the title, Training Day, right? I mean, like, this is someone who you're supposed to look up to and you're supposed to follow in order to possibly get a good career. And I love that the protagonist is in the dark most of the time, right? Like, he is kind of like the mouthpiece for the audience. Like, he's kind of like, you know, he is confused and we are confused, and his revelations are our revelations, and you know, like, things are revealed to him at the right moment and revealed to us at the right moment as well. Because, like, there are moments in this movie when it's like, when we get revelations, it's just like, oh shit, so that's what we've been building to. Like, oh, okay, all right, that's crazy.
Right.
So I love when the protagonist is in the dark and they don't know a lot, and they find out things the same moment that we find out things. Like, you know, they kind of like are in the dark as much as we are. So I really, really appreciate that in this movie. I think Denzel Washington is doing the fucking Lord's work in this movie, man. I think he is awesome. This might be my favorite Denzel performance. I mean, like, it's just so, like I said, it's over the top, but it's so, you know, when he brings it down and he makes it real, it's real. Like, there are quieter moments in this that he carries, and some of them are downright scary. Some of them are really, like, sympathetic and emotional. And yeah, I don't think anyone else can play Alonzo Harris like Denzel does. Ethan Hawke as well as Jake. He kind of like plays Jake in, like, really, you know, he's doing a lot. He has to be scared. He has to be confused. He has to show that his ambition or him wanting to become a detective someday outweighs the moral choices that he's going to make at some points.
Right.
And then eventually that scale is going to have to tip, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
your
it's kinda
moral,
like selling your soul for what you want, you know?
exactly. And it's awesome, man. I love it. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The supporting characters in this, the supporting actors in this are really good too. Scott Glenn in particular, Ava Mendes, Cliff Curtis, dude, Raymond Cruz, our boy, Raymond Cruz.
Dude,
oh man.
Scott Glenn, but also this guy who is, I mean, I'll probably butcher his last name, Noel Guglielmi? Guglielmi? Yeah, he goes by Noel G. But this guy, I mean, he's the, you know, he's in, God, Bruce Almighty.
Dude, he's Hector.
He's Hector. And that's what a lot of people always just said, like, Hector. But dude, going through his fucking filmography, okay, get this. Literally, Hector probably pops up 2 or 3 times, but it's like, gang leader, Johnny, Vince, Hector, Moreno, gangbanger number 1, Chico, inmate number 1, student number 1, Latino convict, Latino thug, Hood, bar thug number 2, Robert. Chicken. It's like, wait, what?
I love the random Robert.
Well, and then, you know, and it's cool because some movies like The Soloist, the one he did in 2008, they made him like a beat cop or something. Like, yeah, because this guy was like, if you wanted like a gangbanger, anything, what, you know, Hispanic-ish even, like that was kind of the guy that was the face of that. But apparently, yeah, he fell into like some bad shit and just eventually got into acting. But his career, it's not like, oh, he worked for 20 years and then, you know, kind of hit off. Like, this guy has been in, you know, I think Training Day was on like one of the top 5 first things he did. It's like, damn, you know, I think the first thing he did was like a huge movie with like Jimmy Smits or something. I was like, this guy just out of nowhere was just
the
like,
same
hey,
year he was in Fast and Furious. He was in that first Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, and he pops up in so much stuff, man. He's great though for someone who's like has that kind of background. I always love seeing that guy, and it's like that list of actors that like you see them in everything, but you don't know their names.
Right. Another actor that I really want to shout out is Peter Green.
Oh, hell yeah.
He was in, The Mask as Dorian, but
Zed's dead,
most notably Pulp Fiction. Zed, the rapist.
He's Redfoot in Usual Suspects.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, man, like this is an awesome movie. I love that, you know, it keeps you in the dark until it really wants to reveal itself to you. I love the aesthetic of it. You know, like I love that we're kind of going through LA, but we're going through like South Central, like these really like dingy, seedy suburbs. Like to make it more authentic, I guess Antoine Fuqua kind of like he actually went into some of these neighborhoods, and they actually have actual gangsters, which is awesome, like which is kind of like unprecedented.
I think that attributes that world building I was talking about. It just feels so lived in and so real.
Yeah, so apparently Clay Sloan served as the gang consultant on the film, and that's when you know that when you have a gang consultant, apparently he convinced some real life gangsters to appear on film, which is crazy. And according to Fuqua, they received a warm welcome and no trouble when filming in these areas, which is awesome. Like it feels legitimate.
Right. Well, it feels like what Smiley says when he's like, "Hey, she's a civilian. You don't get her involved in this." And it's like, yeah, these people are not part of like our shit. They're just here trying to have some fun. We're all gonna go watch this movie when it comes out. We're gonna fucking love it.
Right. Exactly. One thing that I do want to get into before we dive in, this was a formidable time for the LAPD. Like this was just after Rodney King. This is happening around the time of the Rampart Division kind of corruption.
Dude, yeah, you fucking goddamn it! I brought all this up, and I knew you were going to jump into the movie, and I was like, "Have you heard of Rafael Perez?"
Yes, that's who is modeling his. That's who Denzel is modeling his character after, Rafael Perez. So. Yeah, dude, I did a deep dive into Rampart and Crash. And
I didn't go too far into it, but I read just kind of what was on like Wikipedia. Okay. That there should be a if there's not a podcast about that, I say we do it, dude.
let's fucking do it as a bonus episode, because I did this kind of research when I watched The Shield for the first time, with Michael Chiklis. Like that show is based off the Crash division, and that team. Like literally, it's set in LA. It's based off the Rampart division. Like that most closely mirrors what they were doing, kind of thing.
Well, in case you don't know who the hell Rafael Perez is, why don't you lay it out and kind of we'll summarize it quickly.
Yeah, so Rafael Perez was criminal charges. So he was a police officer who was a part of the Crash unit, so CRASH, which stands for Community Resources Against Street Hoodlums. And basically, in the Rampart Division Crash scandal, so in 1998, Officer Rafael Perez, a 9-year LAPD veteran, was arrested on charges of stealing 6 pounds of cocaine from the department's property division. Perez was initially That's a lot. Perez was initially tried on 1 count of possession of cocaine for sale, grand theft, and forgery each. After a mistrial of December that year, more reports of cocaine theft by Perez arose. In September 1999, in exchange for partial immunity from prosecution, he testified about a pattern of abuse and misconduct involving 70 Crash officers, threatening to overturn thousands of criminal convictions. As part of his plea bargain, Perez implicated scores of officers from the Rampart Division's anti-gang unit, describing routinely beating gang members, planting evidence on suspects, falsifying reports, and covering up unprovoked shootings. As of May 2001, the Rampart investigation had brought 58 officers before an internal administrative board. Of these, 12 were suspended, 7 resigned, 5 were terminated. Perez confessed to framing Javier Ovando, an 18th Street gang member who was shot by Nino Durden and Perez on October 12th, 1996. This shit went deep, dude.
Yeah, what I'm still laughing at is at the beginning, you were like, 8 pounds of cocaine. That's a lot. And it's like, oh, thank you, Zoheb. 8 pounds of cocaine. No, all that shit. And then, I mean, you got to think of all the shit that gets overturned now because that one officer was proven to be faulty. So I think their settlements alone were like 125 to $150 million in settlements with people. It's like, yeah, I mean, I would sue the fuck out of, I'd sue the fuck out of the county.
And I don't want to go past this minor/major detail. So Perez was also implicated in the murder of the Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah. Well, and I've also
is crazy.
I've heard the same thing with Tupac. That basically Suge Knight had paid this guy to run up and shoot them and, and kill Tupac. And I'm like, honestly, I mean, when you're this far corrupt, 8 pounds of cocaine, you're like planting shit on people.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, and within like the Rampart and Crash division, there are officers robbing banks to like pay shit off, and but the thing is, it's not like, oh, he stole $1,500 or oh, he planted something. It's like, dude, you're talking, like you said, 8 pounds of cocaine. I mean, right at the beginning of his Wikipedia, it's like, $800,000 worth of cocaine, and it's never something like tiny. It's always these huge, crazy amounts of money. And that's the thing is, it's like once you're that far into corruption and you're, and you cost the city $150 million and all these officers lose, like, if somebody in the police department did not murder Biggie or Tupac, then who the fuck did in the police? Right. If there is something to do with that, like, it's very, as time goes on, that shit gets like more and more believable when you're like, yeah, this is like LA in the 90s, motherfucker. Like, come on.
I'd recommend checking out a movie that came out last year called City of Lies, starring Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker. That goes into the conspiracy of the murders of Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. We also get Rafael Perez in there as well. It really presents a lot of things, and you walk away from the movie being like, okay, I think that it's quite possible.
That's got to be a badass book.
But yeah, absolutely. So we couldn't, we couldn't dive into this movie without mentioning Crash and the Rampart Division scandal, because I mean, like, even according to Antoine Fuqua, this script was being written sometime around 1997, and that Rampart scandal really kind of like pushed this movie into existence. It's like we now need to get this movie out. We need to get it going. But yeah, man, like that's about all the preamble I have. I really dig this movie. Even like, coming up in high school, everyone talked about this movie. Watching it now with a more, I guess, critical eye, I don't think it's as perfect as I used to think it was. I think there are, there's some holes in it. But I mean, man, high school Zohab loved this fucking movie, dude. I mean, it is, I used to live and breathe this movie. But what do you say we get into this shit?
I'm down, dude. Let's do it.
Badass. So we open on Jake, right? He's already dude, I've done this so many times. Like, if I'm nervous for something, like the night before, I'll be kind of like awake before my alarm clock, and when it dings the first time, I'm just like, "Yep, turn that shit off." I'm just watching it ring now.
Yeah, everybody hates that when you wake up and look, and it's like, you're like, "Oh God, what time is it?" It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're like, "Oh, thank God!"
Right. I set my alarm to 6 a.m. and I always need to wake up at like 5:58, and I'm just like, "Fuck." But yeah, he's nervous about today. She tells him he's lucky for this opportunity. Don't screw this up. If he aces this assignment, he might get his own division someday. He says you should see those guys' houses. And like, I love this because we're already getting the setup, right? I mean, like, we're already getting how much today means to Jake. And if we don't get this, then we don't get Jake's kind of like rationalization into playing along with Alonzo's kind of like schemes as far as he does, right?
Right. And he knows that they mean business. He knows that they, that basically that they have a lot of shit going on. I guess is a bad way to say it, but there's not really there's not a whole lot of wiggle room for him to kind of like, I don't know. And man, like, I've really got to bend over the desk and touch my toes for this guy. Totally.
She picks up the call from Alonzo, and we already kind of get the sense as to what kind of guy he is by observing her reaction to the phone call. Like, she laughs and she's totally charmed, and that is Alonzo. He is a sweet talker. You can't let him talk, right? I mean, like, there are moments in this movie where I'm just like, Jake, you can't let Alonzo talk. He's like the devil in your ear, dude.
Right.
Bring the department issue Beretta, Cuffs 2. They're going to be in the office all day. We're an aggressive unit. He hangs up, and like, while Jake is expressing his appreciation. I mean, yeah.
Here's one thing I noticed this time around. Why does he ask him if he has any concealable weapons? And I was like, why would he ask him that? And I'm like, oh, I was like, because and part of me goes back and forth where it's like, okay, does he really want to kill Jake, or is he just trying to? Is he making
himself.
sure, like, yeah? Is he saying like, hey,
Yeah.
this guy may buy all my shit hook, line, and sinker, but if he doesn't, I need to make sure he doesn't have an additional piece. This feels like I can't remember the actress's name and Get Out. Michelle Phillips or something. I don't know what her name is. The crazy white girl who eats her cereal separate. Yeah, whatever.
I forgot her name as well.
When the cop asked for his ID and she's like, no, you don't need that. Like it's got this very deceptive, like premeditation to it. And that's what I like. It's like, I don't necessarily think that Alonzo is like, yeah, I'm going to kill this guy today. I think he's just like, in case you want to get crazy, let's see how crazy you're going to get,
Right. See, there is a level of Alonzo underestimating Jake before he really gets to know Jake in this movie.
Yes.
But I think that is like him asking about the concealable weapon is Alonzo being extremely careful. Like, it's just like, okay, if I'm going to play this guy like a fiddle today, then I need to know everything about this guy before I meet him, kind of thing.
Right. 100%, man.
So Jake meets with Alonzo. He doesn't even like look up at his newspaper. Interestingly, this coffee shop was also in Seven when Morgan Freeman meets with Gwyneth Paltrow and Gone in 60 seconds.
Yeah. It's the quality.
Baby.
As soon as
We're
they
on the
said,
same page today.
I heard somebody say Quality Cafe, and I was like, I know what that is. And I was like, Quality Cafe? And I was like, that's I've definitely seen that before.
Dude, we fucking laughed about that. The name of that cafe.
The Quality
in that
Cafe.
episode, I'm pretty sure.
You might as well have a sandwich like you go to the deli and there's like a like sliced deli meat and it's like it's definitely ham. You're like, it's definitely not ham. It's definitely not quality.
Oh god, it's just processed shit. Yeah, absolutely. I'll get something to you. No, you won't. You fuck that up. Like Jake just has to kind of like, dude. Jake just has to sit there, just a ball of like nervous energy. And this is something Ethan Hawke does so well, dude. It's just like, I love these moments where he doesn't know how to act. Like, he sits down in front of this guy and he just kind of like has to smile and like, like be a little, like he doesn't know how to act because he doesn't know this guy. But he's also being very polite. He's being very professional and friendly. And that's exactly what anyone in this situation would do. But he doesn't know who Alonzo is yet. So he's just like, I'm kind of like stepping into this and doing what I know best. And Alonzo just finishes his paper, right? Like he reads the newspaper because it's 90% bullshit but entertaining. And he asks Jake to tell him a story to entertain him instead because Jake just keeps interrupting.
Yeah, you kind of wonder, is this like a Karate Kid? Like, are you fucking with me to see what I'll do?
Yes.
Will I just sit here and take it? Or will I be like, hey, motherfucker, put the paper down? It's like, dude, should I be assertive? Like, it's kind of it feels like a test.
And in this entire story, it's telling that Alonzo is fixated on Debbie, right? Like, he's so intimidating, but at the same time, totally unprofessional. Like, a lick her license. Like, all of this crassness, you can tell, kind of really throws Jake off guard. It's like, oh, all right. Like, like what the fuck?
Like Jake has been around a lot of people from HR, and it feels like Alonzo has maybe comes to the station once a week. Like maybe pops in once a week.
Totally. But like Alonzo even like feigns being impressed like so well. Like he's listening to Jake's story and even like Alonzo's just like, no shit. Like, but it's bullshit. Like it's like him acting that out is bullshit, but we're seeing just how good of an actor he is. And not, I don't mean Denzel, how good of an actor Alonzo is.
Yeah, exactly. Seeing him feign that in the moment, and I started thinking about it. I was like, what would be awesome is seeing Denzel as Charles Minor in The Office. I was like, that would be fucking terrifying and hilarious. But then it also got me thinking, dude, Idris Elba would eat this goddamn movie alive. Oof. Like Idris Elba, there's something as he is Charles Minor where I'm like, you are a beautifully scary man, and I don't know what it is. It's like I get why the women
and Angela will agree with you.
Yes, I get why they're over there steaming over you. But if this guy came running down a hallway at me, I'd be like, oh, whoa, like that's a big dude. That's a big dude. And he's just got that like grit to him. I think he would be a perfect James Bond, Idris Elba. But right here, it's like, dude, I'd love to see somebody deep fake Idris Elba in this and do something because I'd love to see that.
I am aware of the effect I have on women.
Yes. And his American accent is flawless.
Yeah. you tapped that ass, didn't you? Like
Yeah.
he's just fixated on Debbie.
Put her
right?
in the back seat. Bam. Code X.
God damn it. I love it. He makes it sing. And I don't know how much of this is written and how much of this is improv. There is a bit of improv here. We'll get to it like towards the end. But man, like he makes it sing so well.
It's the eccentricities that do it for me. It just feels like
100%.
It feels like somebody like scatting off the top of their head, you know? It feels like a freestyle. There's something about that.
It's such a well-deserved Oscar, in my opinion, man. Like,
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. This is so, like, you know, you can talk about undeserved Oscars until the cows come home, but, like, this is not one of those. He just crosses the street just indiscriminately without looking, right? But that also tells us a lot about what he thinks of himself, right? I mean, like, it's a total power move, right? I mean, like, he even leaves his door unlocked. It's kind of like he says, like he is the alpha, he is the wolf. Like he knows no one's gonna fuck with him, not even civilians, right?
Right, yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I am not an alpha. I am definitely a beta. You know, if somebody's one of those like, I'm just definitely not one of those people. I don't need to impress anybody. I'm not one of these like, oh, let me see how much I can live. You know, but I've never tried to like, maybe when I was a kid, I tried to like impress chicks and stuff. But I'm like, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too bald, and I don't care. You know,
Right.
like I'm just kind of that way.
I have low self-esteem.
Yeah. So seeing the alpha like kind of mentality is like so foreign to me, and it's like I could not imagine like ever walking into traffic and just be like, fuck you. Like, no, there's no fucking way. I'm too much of a bitch.
Dude.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, hey, watch out for that car, dude. Like, you know, that is 1 ton of steel and metal rolling to you right now. Be careful. Jake notes the car's not from the motor pool, and it's got all these like old school hydraulics, you know, something you'd see in Fast and Furious because that was cool back then.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, these shots of them driving through LA are just gorgeous. Like, this is it's a beautiful looking movie, but it's also ugly at the same time. Like, you know, they balance it really well.
Yeah, this feels like the ugly, seedy version of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The driving around downtown like California, so it's kind of like not everything is like beach bum 60s. Yeah, like free, you know, free. It's like no, we're gonna go smoke some crack and go strangle some hookers. You know, it's kind of like this feels almost like an episode taken out of like Grand Theft Auto. You know, like because I heard Rafael Perez also inspired Officer Tenpenny.
San Andreas.
And that you can definitely see it, and this definitely feels San Andreas-y. Yeah.
Also, speaking of Tenpenny, apparently Samuel L. Jackson was considered for the role of Alonzo. Like, that was a thing.
You know, I definitely, I'd love to see like an audition or a tryout or something, whatever, you know, like a casting of it. But at the same time, he does it so well that there's only so many, you know, Denzel, definitely Idris Elba, you know, Wesley Snipes would probably eat this shit up. You know, they're all very, very, very good actors, but there's also just something about Denzel where it's like, he honestly is scary. And there's something where he's not big, he's not tall, he's not muscular. It's like, no, I don't know what you're going to do next.
For me, it's whenever he speaks in the lower register. Like, we'll get to the scene with Snoop Dogg, but when he's just like, where the rock's at, where the rock's at. Like, you know, it's just like, fuck, that is horrifying, man. But yeah, Jake said he wants to be a narc so he can make detective. You know, Alonzo tells him about his cases. He supervises 5 guys, tells Jake that if he can't hack narcotics, he can leave. I will do anything you want me to. Is exactly what Alonzo was waiting to hear.
No,
I'll even
dude.
suck your dick.
That is like, good God, man. That's pathetic. It's really kind of pathetic where it's, damn, dude, and it's spineless too. You know, it's like, I wouldn't ever want to hear that. If I were training someone where I'll do anything you tell me to do, I'd be like, okay, calm down. All right. This is a Kinko's.
Right.
Like chill out.
Right. I feel like it's a mixture of him and like he barely knows Alonzo yet. But I feel like already he's kind of impressed by Alonzo, like just by the way that he kind of like conducts himself. Like he's very alpha, he's very confident, but it's also a mixture of his ambition, right? I mean, like his ambition outweighs his morality and his kind of like it overrides him. Like it's kind of like all I'm thinking about right now is making detective. You know, like I don't have any dignity to get there yet. So they don't roll no more like they did in the Rodney King days, says Alonzo. Again, this is very, very reminiscent of the era. I mean, Rodney King had, it wasn't that far off, right? I think 6 or 7 years before this.
Yeah, not that bad. I think that happened while they were filming T2, I think, or
T2,
right before, right after.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Alonzo's got 4 boys. You want a boy, you let me know. I'll hit your old lady up. I can't miss. And Jake rightly wants to keep his family out of this conversation, right? Like twice he says, "Hey man, can we just leave the family out of this?" Some of these tips that he gives Jake here feel legitimate, right? Like never wear your wedding ring to work. Like this is all. These are all kind of like tips that you would think an experienced cop like Alonzo would give to a rookie. They pull over this car they bought weed from one of Alonzo's guys, one of the CIs. And even just the little things with Washington, right? Boom, boom, boom. Look at
God damn
sexy.
it.
Stay, you know, like all
That's
that
exactly
shit.
what I was going to say.
God, it's so good, man. I love it. And then stay off of the Rover. Just
there's something there's something about his character that I'm like, dude, you would be a great drummer. Just that energy, that doon ticka doon ticka doon ticka doon ticka doon ticka doon ticka doon. It feels like he could just feels like he's like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah. Like his neurons in his brain are just constantly firing, you know? It's just it's good stuff. Dude, their reaction is so excessive, right? Let's hold these guys up at gunpoint for a marijuana bust.
Yeah. When they slide out into the road like fishtailing, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Hey, control your suspect. You move those hands, I'll slap the taste out. Alonzo puts the fear of God in these guys, man. If they come back down here to the gang neighborhood, I'm going to take your vehicle, I'm going to make you walk home, and I'm going to let the homeboys up the hill run a train on your girlfriend. Oh, boy.
So like,
I wrote Vic Mackey, who is, Michael Chiklis' character from The Shield, because he says the exact same line in The Shield.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but these white kids made me think of that Chappelle show sketch when Clayton Bigsby calls them the N-word, and they're like, did he just call us the N-word? And they're like, awesome. And these kids walk off like, oh my God, that guy was so cool, I know, Ethan Hawke had to probably be like, it is pretty cool. Yeah, he just calls him that so many times in this movie. Mom, so and so, and he's God, oh my God, it's so cool.
Dude, Ethan Hawke's going home to, at this time, Uma Thurman, right? Like, because they were together. And,
produced a beautiful Maya Hawke, the guy.
Maya Hawke, yeah, Strange Things. But he goes home, he's like, Uma, I got called the N-word today in the friendly way.
She's like, Quentin tried to fuck my foot. I don't really know.
Oh, that's awesome. But before leaving, Jake looks back at the girl in the passenger seat and she's shit scared, right? And this is where it starts. Like him becoming slowly uncomfortable with Alonzo's conduct. It's kind of like looking at your idol and being like, oh, I don't know, you're not as impressive as I thought, man. You're not as good as I thought.
Well, also there's something too, and I was like, wait a minute. So the dealer is one of Alonzo's boys. Why the fuck are you arresting these people? Why are you busting these guys? Who gives a shit? You know, why just go get? And I knew something was up the minute he pulled these people over, and I was like, you normally just catch a fish to catch the fisherman, right. Like that kind of mentality. But this is like you're catching the fish just to catch the fish. Like that doesn't really make any sense. But once he pulled the pipe out and stuff, and I remembered this. I knew this happened, but I forgot about it. And I was like, "Oh, that's right. He just wants the drugs." Like that definitely makes sense. But something should be up the minute that happens, where it's like, what are they going to give him names of the guy that he already knows? It's like his informant. I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, Alonzo makes Jake smoke what he tells him is marijuana, and Jake refuses profusely, saying that he became a cop to stop people from using. By the way, Jake, that is totally futile. You don't become a cop to stop people from using. I'm sorry. People are going to use either way. But anyway, Alonzo slams on the brakes in the middle of an intersection and draws down on him. If I was a dealer, you'd be dead by now, motherfucker. You turn down on the street and the chief brings your wife a crisply folded flag. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and apparently I read this on IMDb, so fuck if I know. But Antoine Fuqua apparently, as they were, might have been David Ayer, but people were like, I don't know, that sounds like why would he smoke weed? It sounds kind of ridiculous. And it's like, yeah, when you're undercover, you can definitely do narcotics. You know, it's definitely required sometimes of like, hey, if you don't shoot this shit up or snort this, I'm not going to fucking believe you're who you are. Just like, you know, right. Yeah. Again, they probably wouldn't snort coke in the middle of an intersection, you know, and a black Monte Carlo jumped up on rims and, you know, a hydraulic system. But, you know, this is definitely passable. But pulling the gun to his head and shit, it's like what you do. It's like he always has one foot in believable and he has another foot in just extremism. Anything it is. It can't just be like, dude, seriously, hey, listen. If you don't do this, this can be a problem. And I'm just telling you, maybe you don't have to do it right now, but you will eventually have to do it. No, it pulls a gun in an intersection. It's like it's not a human response, you know?
No, totally. And like he goes from 0 to 100 real quick, right? I mean, like his demeanor changes so quick from, come on, man, you can smoke it, it's fine, to just being the scariest motherfucker on screen.
He's a rattlesnake.
100%. Jake Rolanson agrees to smoke it, coughs it up. Virgin lungs. Dude, can we just talk about how Alonzo just straight up points his service weapon at a civilian honking his horn at him?
Dude, that ain't his fucking service weapon. You know that shit.
Oh, yeah,
you know
that's not his service weapon at all.
There's a bunch of scratches on the side from the serial number and shit. They're 100%. Badass guns. I was reading about them. They apparently were kind of standard issue back in the day, but I don't know.
Are they 45s? They're 45s, right?
I think they are. 45 caliber, but I don't know what the name of it is. Right, like K240SO or something. I don't know.
K2SO? Yeah, no worries. From Rogue One?
Yeah.
Cool, nice.
Yeah, there you
go. They're driving along. Jake's feeling high as a motherfucking kite, and Alonzo lets him in on secret, right? He just smoked PCP. Didn't know you like to get wet, though. Man, there's a flash of this look on Jake's face when he pieces it together. It's just awesome. It's just like, I fucking hate you, dude. Like, it's like, you motherfucker. He starts freaking out, asks Alonzo why he did this to him. I always love that line delivery, dude. Like, that line delivery from Jake. Why did you do this to me? Like, it's just like, God damn it. But Alonzo puts the blame on him, right? You're a grown man. You got to live with your decisions. Ain't like I put a gun to your head.
Well, that and you see it kind of make him laugh where like, you know, you can't tell if it's the high or if Jake's just like, you know what, that is kind of funny, man. Like,
right.
And it kind of also something I didn't verify this. Something is going on with his pupils too. I don't know if they put drops in to make his pupils like that big, but I mean, I don't know. I assume that's a side effect of PCP. PCP is just one of the few that I never really. I'm not that I'll never do it. I'm just saving it for later.
One of the few.
Yeah, one of the few. It's like crack, heroin, cocaine. It's like, well, no, wait a minute. Crack, heroin, meth, PCP. It's like those are like the big four. I was like, I don't know about that.
Cool. So we got fucking Anthony Kiedis on the show today, guys.
Yeah, I went to. I remember going to college with a girl and we were talking about PCP. I don't know why, but she was like, yeah, I used to smoke PCP. It's like it wasn't anything like we weren't crackheads. We'd close down the bar, worked at, smoke some PCP, hang up till 8 a.m, open the bar back up at 3 and just keep doing that for 4 years. It's like, oh my God.
4 years? Holy shit.
You're not and she was cool as shit. She's completely, just wanted to go back to school, stop being a bartender. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Most people don't walk out like clean on the other side,
Yeah. I mean, good on her if she did.
Right.
They arrive at Roger's place, right? I mean, I love me some Scott Glenn. I mean, like, isn't Scott Glenn just awesome in everything? Like, just everything?
And he's a bad motherfucker in this too. He just looks like he would really rock your shit. But yeah, he's apparently, what's funny too is I think Denzel was in Man on Fire in like 03 or 04, but Scott Glenn was in Man on Fire in like 87. So like it was a remake of something. But awesome. I love him, man. He's great. And like, he's really, really good in Castle Rock, that first season of Castle Rock.
Daredevil.
But I mean, yeah, dude, Daredevil, he's in so much shit where it's like his filmography is like... Yeah,
he was in the Bourne movies as well.
Yeah, Apocalypse Now, Urban Cowboy, The Right Stuff, like Silverado, Backdraft. He's in a bunch of and his shit just keeps prolific going, man. Yeah, really good, really good. Secretariat.
Right. So Roger talks to Alonzo saying that the Russians want his head for something in Vegas. They share a few drinks. And dude, they toast, right? And when they toast... they say back to the world. Okay. All right, I guess.
Yeah. Is that like Timon and Pumbaa, you turn your back on the world, like kind of thing? Or
Dude, you pulled off a good Nathan Lane there. I like that.
Thank you. I love Nathan Lane. He's one of my favorite. Dude, he's
awesome,
he's
dude.
so good.
I've been rewatching Modern Family, and in Modern Family, he plays like an over the top like gay friend, and he's fantastic, dude. His character's name is Pepper Saltzman.
Pepper Saltzman. Dude, he's good. He was on Justin Long's podcast not too long ago, and I listened to that. It's really, really, really good. He's a funny motherfucker. He was like, I came out to my mom, I can't remember what age, and she was like, I would rather you be dead than gay. And he goes, I knew you'd understand. I was like, I fucking love Nathan Lane.
That's awesome, dude. So Roger know of Hoyt's background, right? Strong safety, North Hollywood High. He says he follows all of the good players. And this, you can see, this impresses Alonzo, right? He may have just underestimated who he's partnered up with, right? Like this is...
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, do you think at this point that he is kind of worried that his whole plan today is not going to work out because this guy's too sharp? I never get that vibe, but maybe it's just the way he thinks of himself.
No, I think, yeah, I definitely don't think that Alonzo's like, okay, I've got to recalibrate. I've got to do this now instead of that. Like, I think it's just him going, okay, like just keep up on your toes and just keep watching this guy. Yeah, the plan is still on, but we need to be a little bit more sensitive or careful, But it sucks too because I fucking love Roger in this. Like, oh, you sell drugs to kids? I don't give a fuck. No, I'm just kidding. You're cool as shit, Scott Glenn. Your fucking earring and your silver hair. You goddamn middle-aged fox.
Dude, just knowing that he potentially was the Denzel to Jake, right? I mean, this was their relationship, right? I mean,
that's what it feels like. And I guess I was trying to, okay, so there is some shit that I'm like kind of, and we can get to it when we meet Roger again, but it was kind of confusing to me is like, okay, so I get it. Roger's a drug dealer. I guess that he is giving Alonzo money to leave him alone. Is that what's going on here? I guess I don't know exactly what their relationship was, and it's not huge to the plot. They're friends. I read somewhere that Roger was like an old police officer that he stopped being a cop, and I was like, okay, maybe.
I'm pretty sure that they were partners, right? Like that Roger was the mentor of Denzel's character. That's why he's able to be like, what does he say? He's like, yeah, he was just, you were just like him, right?
That's right. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I guess he just got out and just started selling drugs, and that was it.
Yeah. So Roger tells him the snail story, right? And it's funny to watch Roger tell this story, and Jake's just fucking barbecued. His eyes are just huge, dude. He's just like, dude, it's crazy. But he tells him this story. You figure that joke out, you figure the streets out, says Roger. Jake says that he's already figured it out. It's all about the smiles and cries. You've got to control your smiles and cries because that's all you have, and nobody can take that away from you. Alonzo asked Roger if Jake...
Terrible line.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. That's why I'm just blowing past this.
Yeah.
Alonzo asked Roger if Jake can handle undercover, and he says that Jake was just like Alonzo. And man, like I always found it hilarious the way they shake hands and hug. Like, dude, Scott Glenn's just like, yeah, get in here,
right. Like, and he seems so happy to see him. And this is, there's only two people that die in this whole movie. It's him and Alonzo. Yeah, like there are only two body count, and watching Scott Glenn die was like heartbreaking. I was like, man, that sucks. Like this guy sells drugs to kids, whatever. Yeah, but it's crazy because he's even still likable in that capacity,
Well, when he goes out, I mean, we'll get to it, but he's like, you betrayed me, dude. Like, I trusted you. Like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. Back in the car, Alonzo's drinking and driving, and he coaxes Jake into drinking a beer before Jake notices this attempted assault. And he just straight up leaps into action, right? Taking on 2-on-1. I love Alonzo taking his sweet ass time, even just like hanging back, having a smoke, and just admiring Jake's tenacity, right? Like this girl.
That's PCP for you, dude, for real. Yeah. Like,
oh, is it
that is seriously, yeah. Like, there's a lot of horror stories of, PCP was like the bath salts in the 90s, I guess, of people just taking PCP and going fucking crazy, beating the shit out of cops and stuff like that.
That's wild. This girl says that her cousins are from Hillside. She was going to a ditch party. Yeah, you almost become a part of the ditch party, says Alonzo. Jake wants these guys off the street, but Alonso wants to cut them loose. Suck my dick, bitch. That's how it starts, says Alonso.
This scene goes on a little. Honestly, it goes on a little long for me.
It does.
I don't.
It does.
This is a 2-hour movie. You could trim 5 minutes out of this right here.
For sure, but like it adds to. I like that we kind of like get to see just how scary Alonso can be. Like, you know, and the street justice. Like, I'm going to fucking end up breaking your eggs. Right, you know, like with the dual kind of like fucking akimbo pistols. Like I like it, you know. And then, you know, straight after that is like, damn, I'm thirsty, I want a beer. Like, you know, it's just like another day for him.
Right. Well, and it honestly hits a point where it's like, dude, this is almost cartoonish. Where it's like, you know, he takes the money off the two, I guess, like junkies, you know, that are trying to rape that chick, and then he's like drinking a beer while driving, and I'm like, dude, like, you know, also people like this do this for so long because they also aren't stupid and they don't get caught. Like, Alonso's kind of stupid about it. Like, and what's crazy is watching American Gangster with Denzel, where he's, you know, he takes the fur coat and he throws it in the fire, and he's like, you don't wear that shit because you get caught. But that's exactly what Alonso is doing. It's like, dude, you're driving crazy, you're drinking a beer. Like, I get all of this shit is like, you can explain why you have PCP, you're a cop, like you did a bust. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of the shit, if this guy had a body cam on, Jesus Christ, like, you'd be out of there so fucking quick. So it's kind of annoying sometimes, and it's a bit of a character gripe for me, because it's like, how are you this successful when you're this hot-headed for 15, you know, maybe not the full 15 years, but it definitely is a moment for me where I was like, this is a little unbelievable, and I don't need him to be this, like, pencil-twirling mustache evil, you know? It just seemed kind of goofy after a while.
I buy that, and I did bump up against that, but then I was like, you don't get to be this level of rash without kind of like cementing yourself as a force to be reckoned with in the past few years or something like that. Like, you know, this feels like comfort. This feels like I can do this without any repercussions because of the person that I am and because the reputation that I have, kind of thing.
Yeah. Right. And maybe that isn't. Maybe it's just the arrogance of, you know, even if I got pulled over right now, I could probably shoot that cop in the face and get away with it. You know?
And that is Alonso, right? I mean, like, he relies on his reputation a lot. Like, I mean, even in his own neighborhood, when he believes that he is king shit, right? And it turns out that his neighbors and, you know, the people around him quite clearly don't think that way of him, right?
Right, yeah. And it's also, you know, it's kind of terrifying to me that I'm glad the movie ends the way that it does, because if everything went down the way it did, and they're like, oh, Alonso's a bad cop, 15,000 hours of people he's put away serving time, all that gone. And it's like, oh, shit.
Crazy.
Like, that is kind of, and I wonder if that's something actually that Jake thinks too, is like, just let the neighborhood eat this guy alive, because if IA gets down here, we're fucked, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the car, Jake's salty at Alonso for letting those guys go. Alonso says that they go after the big fish. To protect the sheep, you got to catch the wolf, and it takes a wolf to catch a wolf. Alonso finally gives Jake something he's been craving, though, right? Alonso's verbal and explicit respect when he says, hey, don't listen to what I have to say, you're in the right. And this is all strategic on Alonso's part, right? He's giving Jake exactly what he wants to hear in order for him to go along with the plan, to go along with the program that Alonso has planned out.
Right. And what's interesting is after he kind of like, you know, validates him, he then turns around and he's like, that chokehold you used, that wasn't department though. Like, we don't do that. And it's like, so he is kind of like any kind of small hairline fracture, I will start jackhammering that to just kind of, you know, because you feel the confidence is like not, Ethan Hawke is not a confident man. Like, you know, maybe deep down there is kind of this like quiet, maybe he's just more reserved about it. But you can definitely feel that this guy is being intimidated like a motherfucker, you know?
Right.
And, you know, I'll say something strange about Ethan Hawke, too, right here that I appreciate, that he never really got like his teeth fixed, you know, like Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi did that. And like Anna Paquin, they're like, I'm very like, you know, and there's just something I kind of liked about that, where it's like, it's when you think Ethan Hawke, it's like, maybe he did and I just haven't, you know, maybe I just haven't seen it. But there is something about that I'm like, I thank you, I appreciate that. I got like some fucked up teeth, like my wisdom teeth grew in and shit, and I've always said like, I'm never gonna fix that unless there's some, you know, medical issue.
I've
never
got
gonna fix that
in my thing. Like, I've got a chip here. Yeah.
I fucking got my nose broke and my tooth chipped boxing, and it fucking sucked, and it was all in the same 5 minutes.
See, I wish I could make up something that heroic, but truth be told, I just fucking bit a fork too hard. But yeah, look, let's very briefly talk about Ethan Hawke's kind of like gray area, because him applying that chokehold that's not department standard, like he is not 100% a goody two shoes, right? Like when the chips are down and he's in danger, he will do some morality line crossing shit, right, to defend himself.
I don't give a fuck. Go for it, dude. I do the same thing. Like,
totally. Yeah.
You know, but it's a. I think the important thing is to show that he's not a robot. You know, he's not Judge Dredd.
Right.
You know, this guy will kind of, you know, exploit, or not exploit, but break stuff when he needs
judgment.
to break stuff.
Yeah, he'll exercise judgment when the situation arises. Yeah, for sure, totally.
Right. You're fucking 2-on-1 and you're high on PCP. Yep. You know, fuck yeah. I don't care what you do. Break their legs. You know, I don't give a shit.
Totally. They pull up to Snoop Dogg, right? Smell like bacon in this motherfucker. What I look like, a sucker to you? And he just rolls away.
He's surprisingly good. Like, he's better than I thought. You know,
really
I know he's popped up
in
yeah, I know he's done a little bit of acting, but yeah, surprisingly good.
100%. He's better than Dr. Dre is in this movie. I'm just going to say that, because I don't love Dr. Dre in this movie.
Yeah, and for someone who's basically a non-actor,
right.
I get it. You know, he does okay.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same thing. You kind of see like Ice-T and Ice Cube, and it is kind of like, I think Ice Cube is probably the best. His comedic sense is amazing.
If you're talking, like from that era, yes. My favorite singer to actor transition is hands down Jamie Foxx. Like Jamie Foxx, dude.
Oh hell yeah, there you go.
One of the best actors working today. Like, you know, he's fucking
Kelly
good.
Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson. Thank you very much.
Amy Winehouse. Oh wait.
Oh.
Low hanging fruit. So Jake gives chase and catches Snoop Dogg in this store. Dude, I love the little touches. Alonzo trying to keep the clerk like calm by speaking Cantonese, right? Like just speaks to like his proficiency. Like he knows Spanish, he knows Cantonese. Like what else does he know?
Another thing of was it Rafael Perez that he was I think he was half Puerto Rican, or he was born in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like a highly skilled asset. 'Cause at that time, I'm sure that was not as common as it was today.
Right. And like apparently the script was also written for a Latino in mind. Like Alonzo is not
That's interesting.
An African American name traditionally.
Well, I kind of, because I was like, well, Harris, I was like, you know, but that can go any kind of way.
Yeah.
But I was like, but Alonzo, I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah. So Snoop Dogg says, you know, I'm not working for anybody no more. I'm on a disability, man. I love his line delivery. He's so fucking pissed off. And man, like, as I said before, Denzel is fucking terrifying when he leans in and asks where the rock's at. Like, you know, just that second time in that low register where the rock's at.
Well, when he asked him for the pen, I was like, oh my God, is he going to like stab him somewhere? Like, is he going to put that pen? Like, you want to see a magic trick? I was like, oh no. I was there's something about seeing him with that pen that I'm like, please don't shove that up his pee hole, dude. Please don't fucking do that. Like, I don't know where this is going.
It's good though. Like, I mean, like I love that because it tells me that just how experienced Alonzo is, but it also probably tells me that Snoop Dogg's character has priors for doing this. Like there might be a reputation.
Oh hell yeah,
for him doing this.
When he starts clacking off those bullets, he's like, "There's 10, like there's 20," because he knows, man. Like you, this is not your first rodeo, you know.
Right. But also, does that bullet thing work? I mean,
yeah, you can do that.
How?
Where you like pop them out of the chamber because it's spring loaded at the bottom. So when you pop one off, it just like puts the next one up.
I'm saying in like to prosecute him for this. I mean, like the implication is that he's fired these bullets at.
Oh no, Because because they're not spent shells.
Right, exactly.
But no, I just took at him as symbolically being like, here's one, here's two, here's three. Like, no, because they're not even fired bullets.
Right.
Fucking
that's
idiot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't hold up. That's what I'm saying. Like,
no,
I'm just like,
I didn't think it was him like planting bullets and being like, oh, you got us. And it's like, I just thought it was him
shells.
going, no.
What?
They're not spent like they're shells that have not been shot. That's a full clip.
Right.
So like those are shells that if they picked it up, they would go, oh, this is an unfired bullet. So I thought it was just him symbolically going, here's 10 years, here's 20 years, here's 30 years, just for because why need the crack if he's got a gun on him? If he's got guns and bullets, you don't need the crack. And it's like they need the crack to pin him.
Okay. Because I was like, is this him like being like
planting
fired,
shit?
No, well, he's like pretending that he's fired this amount of bullets at these guys.
But
I'm just like, hold on, ballistics would pick up on that, and where's
hell no, dude. There's a very big difference between, and I know you've never even have you ever seen a gun in person?
No, I have seen a gun, but I've never fired a gun, or held a gun, but I know, I know what the difference is between a full bullet and a spent casing. So
right.
I was like, how does that? Yeah, so he's just trying to get him on possession, right? That's the
right. Yeah, and I just thought it was almost like a cash register,
right?
Cha-ching!
I got you.
Cha-ching! I was that's good. I like it, man.
It's cool, but it's an awesome way to intimidate someone, right? It's
wait. So
cool.
have you never seen a gun in person?
I have seen a gun in person. Yeah,
like not on TV, out in the world.
No, in person. Yeah. I was in where was I? I was in a different country.
LA?
No.
You're in a different country.
Believe it or not, yeah. Believe it or not, it wasn't the United States. It was where was I? I want to say Greece. Oh, yes, Turkey. Yes, Turkey was the country.
There you go.
Yes, they have them in stores and everything. Yeah.
Have you ever held a gun?
No.
That's crazy. I don't know. I don't own a gun, but I've shot a couple of pistols, a shotgun, rifle, BB guns, 22s. Yeah, it's fun. We just go out there and
we have shooting ranges here, legal shooting ranges.
So is it just a bitch to get a gun in Australia?
It's you need documentation. You need a reason to have a gun. Farmers carry guns because kangaroos and stuff break into their
shit.
But you can't get a gun in the suburbs. You can't get a gun in the city. You would need the best reason to carry one. But yeah, it is a bitch to get a gun in Australia. But again, we do have shooting ranges, and people do go hunting.
That's cool.
But you'd need to be out in the outback.
That's cool. That's interesting. I didn't know how. First gun I ever shot was a .357 Magnum. Is fucking insane.
That's a fucking monster, dude.
Dude, I was 10 and my dad had to literally, my back was up against my dad's chest and he was holding the gun with me. And we were shooting at a bunch of old shit and been in the back of our neighbor's yard and shot a toilet and it just exploded. And I was
Holy fuck.
Oh my God, that's amazing, dude.
That's
sorry. I didn't mean to get sidetracked with guns.
That is Clint Eastwood gun. that is Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I think he's got or does he have a .357 or a 44? I think he might have a 44.
It might be 44. Yeah.
Yeah, still both very deadly guns.
So Alonzo tracks down the Sandman's address, this guy Kevin Miller, and he lives in the motherfucking hood, right? Let's talk about this pretending to serve the warrant scene. Man, this is, I'm not going to go into full details in this. This bitch is wild. She's got these crazy fingernails, dude. She's just yelling, right?
Do you know who this is?
Why does she look familiar?
This is Macy Gray. Then might not be.
Yes,
okay,
I know Macy Gray.
I don't know how well that's right. I try to say goodbye and she always sounds like she smoked 20 unfiltered cigarettes.
Yes.
But I mean, it's distinctive. I never had a problem with her. She's in Spider-Man. She pops up in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. She's, you know what? When I say she's wild, I mean the character is wild, but she plays her so well. Let me see that warrant.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see that warrant.
Dude, the nails are what get me. And the way she has to smoke the cigarette because of her nails. Oh my God, it drives me crazy.
What are your, so what were you thinking when they, because this is your first time seeing it, when they executed this quote warrant?
I honestly, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And that's part of, I will say for a 2-hour movie, there's parts that you just don't need that. We don't need to know every single thing about the Russians and blah, blah, blah. But there is kind of it's hard sometimes that you basically have to watch him do something and Alonzo comes back and explains what's going on. And we're basically watching this through Jake's eyes, and that's okay. But it gets kind of confusing sometimes, especially once they come back and kill Roger and stuff. And I think part of the problem is almost in an aspect of an unreliable narrator. It's kind of hard to follow Alonzo because you can't really tell what's bullshit and what's not. So like when he starts saying, yeah, oh, Roger was a drug dealer. He sold drugs to kids. I don't even know if I really believe that. You know, I think he's probably doing something funky, but I don't know if is he just trying to, you know, justify to Jake what he's doing. So I think that there's some shit where it's like, it gets hard to kind of follow sometimes, but you know, that's what's interesting about it too. Maybe you don't know exactly what they're doing there. Maybe you don't know exactly what Alonzo was doing in the back, but you know that it's something fucked up. And that's the main point of the scene. And then once she gets to the warrant, it's a fucking Chinese takeout menu, you know, and seeing him put it in the dash, like, oh, son of a bitch, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. See, we as the audience know it's fucked up, but for Jake, it's like this level of trust. Like, it's like, all right, man, I'm going to just trust you because you're my superior. And I'm just going to walk into this situation because I trust you, because you're an established officer. And, you know, you can't be established if you're corrupt, right? Surely not.
Right, exactly.
So I love Jake trying to connect with Dimitri, the boy, because that also kind of like feeds into this whole thing where Jake's good with kids, right? And he's sympathetic to kids. Absolutely. And then, you know, I want to see that goddamn warrant. She starts losing his shit, starts shouting at the homeboys nearby to, quote, blast them fools. Like, even then, I don't think people from the hood said blast them. Is that, like, I don't think, like, they say blast them a couple times. I'm just like,
shit, you're asking a white boy from the South. I have no idea. No,
like,
but
blast them sounds like kind of comical. Like, you know, like,
it sounds like something that a 90s morning cartoon would have to put in place of kill. Like, annihilate them. Yeah. But what does crack me up is when she's like, you got to get liquored out to even do your job. I was like, oh, that's good. Yeah. Like, she could smell it on him. I was like, that's fucking hilarious. It's a nice detail. I like it.
Sure.
She's not an idiot, you know? Like, no, she's like, dude, you smell like straight booze, you know?
No, you can tell she's had cops come in and out of her house multiple times. Yeah, absolutely. They get into a very public gunfight before getting away, right? I mean, like, this is what you were saying, right? This is kind of like skirting the line between fantasy and reality. I mean, the reality, like them walking into the home without the warrant, that could potentially happen. This public gunfight, probably not, right? I mean, like, but I love it. Like, visually, it looks awesome, dude. I love the way that Denzel holds these guns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like one sideways, one, you know, straight on. And just like him kind of like muttering to himself, like being like, all right, you know, come at me. And him just like not hesitating and walking out and just showing these guys who's boss, man. Like, the dude's got balls.
Well, and it's like 12 guys, and the car gets shot 3 times. It's like, Jesus Christ, does anybody even die in this neighborhood if you have that kind of aim? Like, like what the fuck is going on? Like,
Colin. They're all black. They're either drunk or high. Like, come on, dude.
No, see, you can say that. I can. No, but it cracked me up because I'm like, that. Yeah, right. I'm like, look at you know, the neighborhood, I'm sure there's a lot of shootings, there's crime, there's drugs, I get it. But if everybody has aim like that, there's probably 2 deaths a year because, like, literally, when you see them turning, it's like 9 guys back there unloading on them. I'm like, come on, man. Like, your card be fucked.
No, this is the Empire's retirement plan. These are all like out of work stormtroopers.
Yeah, these are all stormtroopers.
But Jake's not loving this, right? Like, he's saying that they'll throw them in jail. It's open season on police misconduct. They will nail us to the wall. And this is, you know, one of those rare times in the movie that it actually references the time period that it's taking place in, right? I mean, like, you know, it's open season police misconduct. They pull over and Alonzo tells Jake to keep his mouth shut and his eyes open. If this kind of shit shakes him up, he can go back to the precinct. He has to decide whether he's a wolf or a sheep. And I love that Alonzo's just dangling the thing that Jake wants the most in front of him whenever he sees Jake trying to, like, beginning to crack.
Yes.
Right? It's just like,
carrot.
Don't forget.
It's the carrot on the stick.
Don't forget why you're out here. Absolutely. They head to Alonzo's hood, right? They say don't come in here with anything less than a platoon. This is jungle headquarters. A lot of murder investigations lead right here. Alonzo says, quote, I treat these guys fair. They know if they cross the line, I'm taxing that ass. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the way he thinks of himself, right? And that's the way that he perceives this relationship between him and his neighbors. But that's not exactly the way it is in reality, which is what we come to find out at the end of the movie. Dude, I love this guy pulling past, riding the bike.
Yeah,
He's just
riding the
fucking
bike.
hilarious, dude. He's just staring at them.
This whole thing was like, it kind of felt like Scar and Pride Rock.
Yes.
Like it felt like Scar walking
With
in
the
and being
hyenas.
like, you
Yeah.
know, right. Like, and you know, there's always probably going to be somebody in this neighborhood that's like this, somebody that exploits these people with violence. And I'm sure there have been people doing that like to varying degrees in the past. But this guy is probably, I feel like, the worst they've seen. To have like that kind of like basically they pull a roadhouse on him at the end, you know, like what they do at the end of, which is a true story, by the way. If you ever want to read about Ken Rex McElroy, there's a really great story there. I think actually Floyd covered him. If you guys ever want to check out the Pop List podcast with Floyd Fry, I think he covered Ken Rex McElroy. But I mean, them releasing the fucking carrier pigeons. I'm like, I'm sorry. Is this a Knight's Tale? Are you jousting? And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
von Liechtenstein.
Dude, I was like, they released doves to let everybody know. I'm like, God, I mean, don't get me wrong. I knew this was before cell phones, but Jesus Christ, man.
Dude.
Like before cell phones were a big thing, you know?
I love, don't you just know that it's Terry Crews? Like that is like
yes,
with these pigeons, you just see the top of his head.
You see the back of his fucking head,
and you're like, that's fucking goddamn Terry Crews.
That's what I said, and I was like, "Am I a racist?" I was like, "I can't see his face, but does it make me a racist?" And then I saw him pop up later on, and I was like, "Okay, that's Terry Crews." You know, plus the muscle. I mean, good God, dude, he's in insanely good shape. But one
he's
thing
he's got a characteristically wrinkled head.
Yes, he really does, and like I am bald, and I can do it. Like if you press the skin of the back of your head together, it does that, and it's hilarious. But there's something like the carrier pigeons getting released, which is fucking hysterical. But then also when they pull up to that sidewalk, I was like, dude, this is Grove Street in San Andreas.
Mm-hmm.
That feels that circular kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I miss that. Like it makes me want to go play GTA 5 because you can go to Grove Street and hang out. And there's some really cool, funny YouTube videos. People who think they see CJ from San Andreas and Grand Theft Auto 5, and people mention Nico Bellic, and it's like, dude, I could just see Alonso being like, yeah, I got these, you know, Yugoslavian, Albanian, whatever motherfuckers working for me. And it's Nico Bellic and Nico and Roman Bellic.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I could totally see it.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, a one with cheese, and a large soda. Do you remember who that is?
No.
Oh my God, dude. That's Big Smoke's order at Burger Shot.
Okay. Because I was like, oh my God, I think he watched like the director's cut and I don't know what scene he's talking about. And like, I was over here just like, no. Like I'm always terrified regionally. We're going to have different copies of a movie.
Yeah.
I think that happened once or twice and it scared the fuck out of me. And I was like, yes, I too enjoy this scene. Like, you know.
Oh my God. I just flashed back all of my memories to San Andreas. Like, you know, that first mission with Ryder on the bicycle. Keep
Hell
up,
yeah.
motherfucker.
You fucked it up again, CJ. You have to jump on the train. Dude, Danny and I bonded like a motherfucker over that one.
Totally. But yeah, you're right. Alonso's mistake here is that he thinks he's got all of these guys under his thumb, right? Like it's hubris. Like even these guys here say that they can't stand this guy, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of Michael Scott in a way. Like, you know, Michael Scott thinks he's got this big reputation. Everyone in the office loves him, but in reality, everyone's just tolerating him. Like, you know.
Right. The guy who thinks he's the coolest guy in the office is usually one of the last, coolest guys in the office.
Holy Eva Mendes, Batman.
Dude, yeah, good guy. And it's crazy because, like, I don't know what her filmography is up until this point. I mean, she's definitely a minor character in this. I think they barely even say her name. But I have seen one scene of this movie 187 times, but I've never watched Training Day.
Wore out the tape? You just wore it out?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. No, because it's Eva Mendes is like, I don't have a lot of like celebrities that I'm just like, but dude, Eva Mendes is like, good God, there's not. She's only going to be hotter in like 20 years. She's going to be absolute smoke show, and she's fucking Ryan Gosling, and they'll have beautiful fucking Blade Runner babies. God damn it,
absolutely.
But no, and then like I think of her and like the other guys, and she's so sweet and nice, and like there's just something about Eva Mendes where it's like, yeah, you're hot and you got big tits and you're beautiful and stuff like that, but there is something that's just so like inviting, man. She has a warm, like charm to her that's just like, oh, I just want to lay down.
We're about to get into it, right? I mean, like, even just here, she's incredibly kind to Jake, right? She brings him El Salvadoran food. Like, she just, I love, like, she just feels so homely and, like, inviting, like you said. Dude, I got to point out the other guys, and I don't want to quote it. We're going to go down a rabbit hole quoting it, but man, Tom Hanks didn't have poison ivy up his ass. Yeah, he did. Way up there. Yep.
I love. She's like, oh, face back, and she takes a bite of the green beans. Oh, that's so fucking funny, dude.
So good, dude. But yeah, dude, I love how she's just like, I have to go. It's because fucking Alonzo's in the next room just wanting his fucking chimney polished.
Chimney polished. What do you guys call blowjobs in Australia? We were talking about this the other day. Say it. God damn it, say it. They're gobbies. They call them gobbies. Like gobbies? Like gumballs and goblins and stuff? He's like, yeah. So I've asked girls for a gulby before. How can you look a girl in the like? It's a beautiful moonlit night.
Oh, it's incredibly demeaning.
Like
it's incredibly demeaning.
You're in a convertible like Henry Hill and his wife and Goodfellas, and you're in the back seat, and you're like, "Hey, girl, can I get a gulby?
Can I get a gulby? Yeah. Well, okay.
What's the opposite? What's cunnilingus? What's the term for cunnilingus over there? Is there a shorthand for it? Just eating out? Is that it?
Yeah. No, that's it. I think it's just eating
out.
Damn. But gobby,
lame.
And like, I'm not going to trace back the the origins of the word gobby, but I mean, if you think about it, right?
Gobble.
I mean, like, shut your gob, right? Like, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I was like. Gobble gobble. Like. Blah, blah, blah.
You messaged me the other day, and you were just like, "I'm losing my shit right now."
Gobbies. I was like, it's so good.
Oh my god. But yeah, so Jake wakes up to Alonzo telling him that they have a meeting in 15 minutes, and dude, the kid just dozing off next to him is just adorable, right? I mean, like,
that's a fucking gorgeous little boy too. I'm like, what a beautiful kid, man.
Yeah, and he's got a deep voice already. Like, it's like, man, did you already hit puberty?
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Well, that, and it's like, of course you're Eva Mendez's kid. You're like this beautiful angel child.
Right. Alonzo speaks Spanish to this kid, and we never see what it is, like what he says to him. What did you make of this? Him speaking Spanish to this kid and sharing this moment.
Yeah, because there is something kind of like, it's almost like you're like, and the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, like, you know, and you're watching and you're like, this kid is afraid. Yeah, this kid is afraid of him. I don't think this kid likes Alonzo one bit.
That's a good pull. Yeah.
And I feel like there's a deleted scene where this kid watches Alonzo beat the shit. Is it Sarah? Is it Eva Mendez?
I don't know, man.
I think. I don't know. But I feel like there's definitely
women's names, Colin. Like, I don't do that.
Yeah. There's something about that I'm like, what is, you know, why is this kid so tense and so afraid of Alonzo? But being right around Jake, he was just like, hey. You know, and he was open and fine.
Right.
Do you want to know what he says in Spanish?
Oh yeah, hit me, please.
I pulled it up because I was curious. I knew, you know, he said, hey, ¿cómo está, mijo? And I was like, okay, he's saying, how are you, son? Like, I know that. So, te portas bien, está, I'm fucking not going to read on it. This is, hey, how are you, son? Are you being good? You are growing up. Daddy? I don't know. Or, I guess you're growing up. Something. Oh, okay, yeah. And when they're in the hallway, he's like, you know, shh, don't cry. Come here, son. Come here. Don't cry. Listen to your father. And then, yeah, when they're in the hallway, he's like, son, no, he is bad. He is the boogeyman. He will hit you. The boogeyman, son. He wants to beat your mother. Come to daddy. And it's like, oh, fuck. Because that's crazy, man.
He says muerte, right? Which means death, right? At one point.
Yeah, like Dia de los, like muertos.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's crazy because like you can tell this carries a lot of weight for Alonzo, right? I mean, like this moment here. And then we get to the three wise men meeting, right? Apparently the studio wanted to cut this scene because it just ran for a little bit long, but Fuqua argued to keep it in because it says that Alonzo's actions are sanctioned by higher ups, which is really interesting. And dude, I love the way that this scene is shot. Like the red, you know, like I will never forget the visuals of this scene. But these guys, all three of these guys have been in things before, right? I mean, like one of the guys is from Flubber. He's like the villain in Flubber. The other guy, the one that's actually pissed off, sitting on the other side by himself, is from Rush Hour. He's been in a bunch of stuff. But the main one there is Tom Berenger, who's been in a shitload of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like Inception for one.
He's been in a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Inception. He's like in Platoon. He's in The Substitute. He's in one of my like favorite movies, which a lot of people, it kind of got lost to the sands of time, is Eddie and the Cruisers.
Okay.
It's he's probably the biggest name in that movie. No, Joe Pantoliano is in that. Like it's an early like 80s movie, but yeah, there's something. There's something about when I looked, it's like, oh shit, it's Tom Berenger, and then I think like I can't remember the other guy's name, but he's the judge from Ghostbusters too.
Yeah,
and he's like he's in Scarface.
The guy from Rush. Yeah, he's from Rush Hour as well. Yeah, that's why I was like, he's in something else. But yeah, he's what is it? It's like the Scoleri brothers. I tried them for murder. Yeah.
What does he say? He's like, why don't you just tell him you don't believe in ghosts? Oh, and they all like, yeah, that's one of my favorites. They carry that lawyer out, and he runs back screaming. He's like, "You're so next, good. Bubbles." That's so that's one of my favorite lines of that movie.
All of these guys do such a good job of like you can tell that. Yeah,
Harris Yulin.
Yes,
Harris Yulin.
Harris
That's
Yulin.
His name. That's gonna drive me crazy.
Totally. But yeah, they do. They all do. Like, I mean, you can tell that these guys are proficient at what they do, but they'd be corrupt, right? I mean, like these guys are so good at playing slimy, like slimy guys. It's fantastic. Harris Yulin tells the story of this guy in court who stuffed peanut butter down his pants to get the insanity call, which ended up working. And they all find this amusing. Alonzo gives him credit, right? He worked the system, so he deserves his freedom. Then they start in on Alonzo's weekend in Vegas. How did you screw up so bad? The Russians don't care that you're a cop. They suggest he skips town, but Alonzo says that he can get the cash from, quote, one of his old ones, right? And the guys give him the green light, right? So outside, Jake spots Alonzo dropping off cash into one of the three wise men's cars. Boom.
Right, he's basically buying a warrant.
Buying the warrant, yeah.
From what I understand.
Totally.
And that's what I was wondering. I was like, wait, so I guess, so basically Roger is just, it doesn't really matter what the relationship is with Roger. He's the payoff for the, see, that's what I don't get is so it's $4 million. They each take $250 of the $4 million they find. Dude, he's still $750,000 short.
No, they don't. So they don't. Yeah. Okay. So they don't take the $4 million. They take the $1 million.
Right. But it's split 4 ways.
It is.
So
I want to think, I want to think that, this makes up most of the cut. Like this isn't the entire 1 million. So I want to think that like, Alonzo has money stashed back home, which is why he goes home first after he drops Jake home.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Because
it's a small thing. I don't want to like, because I'm a nitpicker like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I was wondering. I was like, wait, I don't really understand. And it just, again, it adds to the confusion of something that's already a 2-hour long movie. And it's this is where shit gets kind of like, and I like the fact that there is kind of this like seedy underbelly of like, it does kind of have this crazy, like, maybe Alonzo is like the, gangbanger black dude on the street, but he's run by these crazy 3 white corrupt ass dudes,
right.
and that's
they're
what's
the ones
funny
pulling
is
the
that,
leash. Yeah.
Yes, they act, and there's kind of the thing, you get this feeling of superiority from them because they feel like he's just like a dog, like a soldier, like he's a bitch. But it's like, but you are just as bad as he is. You may not pull the trigger, but you pay the fine. It's like that's what kind of drives me crazy is just because they're old, white, and rich. But don't get me wrong, they can do anything in America because they're old, white, and rich. but there is something kind of crazy about how they view him in such a disposable way when it's like, man, this is not you. And I think in the same way that he is underappreciating Jake, I do think these guys underappreciate Alonzo and what he can get done in a small amount of time. Yeah,
totally. I mean, like it's all about being in that seat of superiority and not really recognizing that someone beneath you is capable of what they're capable of. But yeah, look, that's about halfway. What do you say about taking a break right here?
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
Cool. Guys, we'll be right back with more Training Day. Do not go anywhere.
Hey, Hey guys, what's going on? Colin jumping in here in the middle. Just kind of let you know some stuff that's going on at Midnight Double Feature. First off, please stop by and rate and review us on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. It helps out so much. It takes 5 seconds and it's free. So there you go. We would really appreciate it. Also, you can find us on our socials. We're on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Twitter at MDF Pod. Please also join the group that we have attached to our Facebook page. It's called the After Party. Everybody's invited. That group has been really expanding, and we're really excited to see where it's going. We can also find our website, midnightdoublefeature.com. We got our merch there. If you want to know something, you want to find us on our socials, you want to see what all's going on, that's kind of like our main hub. That's really where to find it if you want it. We also have a podcast for Breaking Bad that we have going on. It's called Bad Crystal. It's an interesting show where I actually haven't seen any of the episodes of Breaking Bad. Zoheb has seen it like 15 times, and he's kind of leading me through it. I'm experiencing it for the first time with a veteran, and it's an interesting dynamic, and it's a lot of fun. And lastly, if you really want to support the show and really put all your cards on the table, we do have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. It's $5 a month. There's only one tier. You get all access to everything that we've got going on. We've got bonus episodes. We've got off the rails kind of stuff. We've got a lot of stuff that's not going to make it to the main page, and there's a lot more geared for Patreon kind of stuff. So we really hope to see you guys over there. Like I said, plans start at $5 a month and end at $5 a month. That's the only one that we've got going on. We really hope that you guys can join up there, and we will hope to see you soon. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are covering Training Day. We're getting right back into it. We are freshly squeezed, as always, after our breaks. We're getting right back into this. We're getting into the breach on Rogers Place. Alonso's calling his boys, make sure that he signs the shovel out and tools out from maintenance. He's covering his tracks, right? Jake questions the money, and Alonso says it was payment for the arrest warrant. We meet the rest of Alonso's crew. Almost all of these guys are noteworthy, right? I mean, like the guy with the beanie, as we already said, is from The Mask, and he's Zed. And then we have Dr. Dre, like the actual Dr. Dre, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen him act in anything before. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. And then I recognize one of the other guys, but I couldn't place where he was. Colin, you talk about something, and I'm going to look him up.
Because I was looking I was like, wait, I feel like one of these guys was in like Night at the Roxbury or something. Like they just kind of have that like mid to late 90s, early Frank Grillo, like gruff kind of look. But they look familiar. But yeah, same thing. I couldn't really piece where they were from. And two of those guys they look like they're brothers. Right. They look extremely similar.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't find him. Chronicles of Riddick, maybe. I don't know. I can't place one. It's the white guy. I thought he was the white guy with spiky hair. He looks a little older than the other guys. He looks like the guy who was the villain in Bad Boys, the first one. But I don't think that's him because that guy's a foreigner, and we don't have foreigners in our police squads.
Yeah.
So we get the breach on Rogers Place, right? Alonso is going to have all of y'all's ass, and in steps Alonso. What's up, Roger?
Dude, that fucking sucks too. And it's crazy because Jake has no idea where he is. Last time he was here, he's high on PCP. He's probably so out of it.
And they go through the back way, right? I mean, they didn't come through the front door. Alonso explains to Roger that the wise men want to tax him. They've got their boats and mistresses. Alonso is just the lowly civil servant. They chainsaw the kitchen floor and uncover the loot, over $4 million. Alonso is over the moon. First day on the job, you hit a $3 million seizure. And Jake's is not having this, right? This is so awkward, and I love Ethan Hawke here. He's like, no, right? I mean, not like this. We're not doing this, are we? It's just kind of like that unbelievable level. It's just like, wait, hold on. You've raised the bar again to what I thought you were capable of. I thought we were just, I've already seen the bar, but you've just elevated it once more. And I continue to be surprised by your rashness and brazen like conduct, you know, like it's fantastic. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, especially once it kind of dawns on him and you see Peter Green kind of swapping looks with the guy who looks like he's the lead singer, like Finger 11, I don't know. But yeah, you see them kind of shooting looks, and you know, I had a guy I worked with once. We both worked in like the meat department of a grocery store, and there was something that came back where it was fucked up, and it was like some really nice steak, you know, and we could like grill in the meat department with this little electric like grill. And I was like, oh, dude, I say we cook these things up, you know, blah blah. And we cooked them up, and you know, I really wasn't hungry, and I was like, hey, here you go. And he was like, no, you got to eat that shit too. And I was like, why? And he's like, you're my accomplice. He's like, I'm not going to eat this shit by myself. He made me. He's like, hey, fucking eat a piece. He's like, all right.
So I found him. I found the guy. I found where he's from. He is from Con Air. He played Billy Bedlam, like one of the cons. And I was like, fuck, I knew.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
You've never seen it? I had a feeling. No. I had a feeling you'd never seen it because I think we've mentioned it once before and you were just silent on it. And I was like, oh no. He hasn't seen Con Air. There's an imposter in amongst us.
Yeah.
So Roger asks Alonzo whether the three wise men just think that Roger's just going to take this lying down and he's not going to roll over, right? Like this is Roger being what I believe is the ex-cop, and you know, like he's just not going to roll over and take this, right? Which presents some complications, which tells Alonzo, man, like, I can't leave him alive, right? I mean, like, Roger was not walking out of here alive, right? No matter what he said.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, too. And he's like, hey, you know, I keep you out of jail. I'll keep you out of prison. And it's like, dude, I mean, at the end of this, either Roger is dead or he's going to prison.
Right.
Because you can't just say you got this money and that be it. There has to be some kind of trail, you know?
100%. Then we start in with this whole thing with Alonzo coaxing Jake into shooting Roger, right? Jake's just like, are you serious? Like, are you actually fucking serious right now? And just notice that Alonzo never breaks eye contact with Jake, right? He's just like, shoot him.
Yeah.
Like, he's dead serious.
Well, and even, you know, like Jake and Roger are kind of like, oh, yeah, boom. He's like, boom. Yeah. You know, and they're kind of like, you feel like it's just this weird, dark kind of humor they have. But when he fucking turns around and pops Roger, you can see it in his face. Like, I know why, but like, how can you do this, man?
Dude, he just pumps him full of buckshot. I mean, like, Jake's just like, what the fuck? And Roger's like, I get why you did this, but at the same time, what the fuck? Like, I thought we were friends, dude.
Right. Yeah. It's super fucked up.
And then we do the whole scream thing, right? Green takes two coming through the door, and it just reminds me of Matthew Lillard. I'm feeling a little woozy here.
Right. Well, and I love, like, when you hear him get shot, like, the first one just kind of like thud. And then the second shot is like thud squish. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just kind of like sound. You're like, I think he got you, man.
Yeah. Alonzo strong arms Jake into getting with the program. A Los Angeles Police Department narcotics officer was killed today serving a high-risk warrant. LAPD spokesperson said this officer is survived by his wife and daughter. Oh man, what a pants-shitting moment. What a pants-shitting moment for Jake, dude. I love my favorite moment in the entire movie. Jake grabbing the shotgun from Alonzo and just straight up telling him, you've pulled a gun on me once before. I will not let you happen. It will not happen again. Like, it's just like, holy shit, dude. What a great moment to prove to these guys that you are not, like Roger, going to take this lying down, right?
Well, yeah, and plus, again, underestimating him, even in a room full of people, he pulls like a Denzel Book of Eli shotgun, like, awesome. And just gets it, and it's like, shit.
It's awesome. And, dude, Denzel's reaction to this is equally as impressive, right? He's like, God damn, I thought I knew I had it in you. Like, oh, fantastic, right. Dude. I love this. Denzel says, you give me 18 months, I give you a career. I've been planning it all week, son. Right? Like, this is when it all comes into... This is all when it all comes to fruition, right? Like, he's been pumping him full of PCP. He's been planning it all week. Like, this is... Yeah, if you're Jake, dude, you are both impressed and pissed off, right? But you can't help but not be impressed.
Right. I think there's something, there's so much going on. And I think Ethan Hawke really juggles that well of like, yes, I am worried about my career. And I think that there's part of him that's like, have I been really this naive the whole time to think that stuff like this doesn't happen?
Right.
And maybe stuff like this will always happen. There will pretty much always be corruption. But, you know, do I have to, is this something that I have to be a part of to some degree. And that definitely happens. Like there are real cops out there that are like, hey, yeah, I have a confidential informant who sells crack, and we don't bust him because he gives us good information.
Right.
We leave him be and let him do his shit or his or her shit. And I'm like, yeah, like that's kind of like what I like is there is this realistic, he's okay with him having a guy who sells weed who's like, yeah, he makes some money. He's my confidential informant. But this is just like, now you are manufacturing crime. Right. You are scripting it.
Right. Crime did not exist before you entered the scene. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like this is 100% crossing a line. And we talk about it in Breaking Bad all the time, right, on Bad Crystal, when Hank is watching these low-level dealers like who was the informant in season 1 was Crazy 8, right? And Hank is using Crazy 8 to get information on the bigger guys, on the cartels, on someone like Tuco, so yeah, like right. I mean, like this is, I'm not going to say it's common practice, but it makes sense when you're building a case and you're trying to cut the head off the snake, right?
Right. Well, then, yeah, you're like I said, pulling over those guys earlier with the weed in their car, yeah, you might bust those guys, but just to kind of climb the ladder,
So backup arrives, they cordon off the area. Now, I want to know if you caught this. So Alonzo's on the phone to the Hillside Latinos, even saying, yeah, just make sure that bathtub is clean, homie.
Well, dude, yeah, that, and I can't go past him punching Dr. Dre in the face because it is really awkward.
Yeah.
It is very, very awkward. But yeah, they're like at first it's like, wait a minute, that's all right. He's like, well, lay off the rice. I was like, lay off the rice. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I was like, oh, is he saying like, oh, you're Mexican, rice and beans? Yeah, that's what I was just, now it makes sense in hindsight. But yeah, keep and make sure the tub is clean. And it's like, oh my God. And there's something crazy too. When he gets into the car, it's like, when you look through the back window, it's like bullet hole, bullet hole. And then when he's in the tub laying there, it's like, dude, like standing above him. It's kind of this like weird, good trilogy of like, it's this weird trilogy of like numbers. And there's something to it. And I don't want to go past it because we're kind of here talking about Roger. Please. But what's interesting is when you look and you see Alonzo and you see Jake and you see Roger, you're looking at him and you're like, Jake is just like in a road that forks and he can go either way. And Alonzo is pretty much halfway down that road. But Scott, it's like small, medium, large. It's like varying degrees of people who like, Alonzo is somewhere in between. He is, does he like being a cop? Like, yeah, I think there is a part of him that likes bringing people in, but that part has like dwindled away. And he, like you said, even Roger is like, dude, you had that same fucking look in your eye. You were an upbeat little spunky, rookie. And it's kind of like when you look at Jake, he's this pure kind of almost Captain America, flawless, like uncorruptible kind of thing. Whereas Alonso's kind of in the middle. He's definitely corrupted, but he's still a cop. Like he does still bust people and he does still, for his own gain, kind of extends justice, but extends justice nonetheless. But then you look at Roger, and it's like this guy supposedly sells drugs to kids. He's totally off the thing. So it's like it's almost like pure half corrupted, totally corrupted, like where you've just totally. And you can argue that Alonzo is pretty much totally corrupted. He did just murder a guy, but like whereas Scott has no redeeming, he fights no crime. At least Alonzo does bring people in, and he does kind of maybe he controls the market and shifts things around for his own gain, but he definitely does eliminate some shit as well.
Here's something to throw a spanner in the works. The person that tells us that Scott Glenn's character sells drugs to kids is Alonzo.
Right. So you don't really know.
Right.
It's like,
how much of what he tells Jake can we trust, Like, I mean, he could, I don't think, I think that he must have done something. Like Scott Glenn's character must have done something to justify the warrant. But whether it's something as bad as selling drugs to kids, maybe not,
Dude, this guy is not out slinging drugs face to face with people. No. You don't have $4 million in your basement and live in this kind of house and have face to face. No, you might have dealers that do that, but I don't buy that for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, Jake is now in a position where he needs to make a positive choice to either go along with Alonzo's plan or not. And this is the moment that we get in the car, right? This is Alonzo telling Jake to take the money because it'll make the team feel better. And Jake's just like, man, I am not here to placate the team, right? I mean, I am not going to take the dirty money.
Well, that too, and yeah, and in a second watch, like it kind of feels like the illusion of choice. Like Alonso acts like he's giving him but he's already made up his mind.
Well, it's also interesting here. Everything that Alonso says here, because we've like on a second watch, you know that he's kind of like already set up the death blow, right? I mean, like, you know, make sure the tub is clean. Like he's already made the decision that he's gonna take this guy to get murdered. So everything he says in the car here, this is all bullshit. This is all kind of like, you know, it's funny watching this particular scene a second time, right? Like, you know, this shit is chess, it's not checkers. And he's like trying to justify the murder to Jake and still trying to get him to take the money. Jake says, you guys are fucking insane. And Jake's actually disappointed that it's like this, you know, like he's like, it can't be like this. It can't be like this. And Alonso makes a spirited speech telling Jake that he's got to play the game, be patient, make detective, make changes from the inside. And again, it's just crazy that he's saying these even after he's basically set up his murder, which is insane.
Here's what's interesting to me is anytime that Alonso gives him validation in this way, where like Jake starts kind of flipping out over not arresting those guys and smoking the PCP. And he's like, you know, but whatever you did, though, you did the right thing. It's like, well, he's placated, you know, he's validated me. And then right here where he's like, listen, man, you have what it takes. You're a leader. These guys are not leaders. And it's always him kind of, again, he flicks the carrot in front of the donkey. Yeah. And then at the end, when Jake walks in and he's got a gun on him, he's like, you did it, man. You passed. Yes. And he's like, good job. He's like, I am way beyond that at this point. Fuck you.
Doesn't work.
Yes. Exactly. The donkey has now stopped and just grabbed the string of the carrot and pulled it down. I'm like, no, that shit's mine, man.
100%. We roll up to the Hillside Gang, these Latinos. I want to ask you, have you ever gone to a party and people are just hanging out outside, not talking to anyone else and just vibing to music and drinking? Because there is one guy, as we enter this house, there's one guy on the left just kind of like hanging next to a wall. He's leaning up against a wall and he's just by himself. I'm just like, what the okay. All right.
Right. No, I mean, I've never been in a gang or anything. I don't know if that's kind of, you know, is that normal? But yeah, there is something kind of like, are you like perched like a gargoyle? Like, are you like the, you know, are you like the lookout? But I want to see if you notice something. The box that Denzel is holding, go back and look at it for me, because what's driving me crazy is when he walks up, you can very clearly see it's supposed to say Sony, Sony.
Yes, I saw that. It says Sony or something.
Says Sun. Yes, Suny.
Yes.
And I was like, well, maybe this was an off-brand. I don't think this ever existed. And I think this was definitely the Sony font.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
It totally is.
And you know, I guess Foster didn't give a shit, but I was like, why would Sony not want a piece of this, man? Like Dr. Dre and Macy Gray, Snoop Dogg, like that seems kind of weird, man. I don't know.
Denzel, I mean, $40 million, right? But it says something to me that Denzel is delivering this off-brands like thing to these like these kind of like on the poverty line kind of like people, like, you know, like it. Well, Go. Sorry.
Oh, and it's full of cash, too, and it cracks me up because the CD player is just a CD player, but the blender is what has the cash, and that's the one that Jake is holding, the one with the cash in it. And it's like, it's weird.
Literally paying for his own death. Yeah, absolutely. But, okay, and then we get the trio, right? Cliff Curtis, Hector, and Tuco. Cliff Curtis is an interesting actor to me to be playing a Spanish guy because he is from New Zealand. He's Maori. So
yeah, he was in Dr. Sleep, dude. He's really good in Dr. Sleep.
I've always liked Cliff Curtis, dude. He was in Die Hard 4.0. Like, you know, like Fear the Walking Dead. Like, I've always liked Cliff Curtis. Like, he's awesome. But this was back in the days when an actor could play an ethnicity that was not their ethnicity. Like, you know, and no one would give a shit.
Right. And looking at him too, I'm like, are you one of the guys from System of a Down? Like, you have this kind of like Serge Tankian like kind of like look, but I started looking at that and I was like, you know, he kind of has a Freddie Mercury vibe. Like, he's got the mustache and his hair is like sick back. But I was looking at him, I was like, dude, you do kind of have this like System of a Down. Like, I love, you know, System of a Down's a great band. And I was like, if they ever make that movie, Cliff Curtis has got to be Serge Tankian from System of a Down.
What did you think of Tuco? How did you react when you saw Tuco?
God, what a nuanced performance and subtle. No,
he's basically playing Tuco.
Yes, he's basically playing like, even though it's the way, there's something about like, whoa, like the way he talks, and he has this weird like overbite, like the like that. That's basically the description, but of like a lot of his lines. But I mean, what's crazy is like, so what was Breaking Bad, like 05, 06?
No,
when did that first
08.
start? Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. Because in this, he's obviously a little bit younger, but he's in like way better shape in this movie.
He can have his shirt
and
off.
it's like, oh, fuck,
he can have his shirt off for sure. Now, I want to talk about something. So the tension here is great. And like, this is only something that I just like kind of picked up the other day or yesterday. So offline, I was talking to you about that Edgar Wright and Quentin Tarantino podcast. So they just did a 3-hour podcast for the Empire magazine, and it is outstanding. And in that podcast, Quentin talks about the difference between tension and terror, and both they're not exclusive. Like, you don't need terror for tension. You don't need tension for terror. The difference is with tension, you don't really know what's going to happen to the protagonist, right? What's going to happen to, let's say, Jake in this particular scenario. But terror, you kind of like know that the lead is going to die, right? Let's say, for example, the example they brought up in that podcast was Silence of the Lambs. At the end, you have Jodie Foster's character kind of like walking around Ted Levine's sort of like little hovel, and you don't really believe that Jodie Foster's character is going to die here, right? I mean, like, this is not that kind of movie. So you kind of like take away, there's no terror there. It's just tension. But terror is when you genuinely don't know whether your protagonist is going to live or die, right? So this moment, and I'm not going to say that I believe that Ethan Hawke was going to die here, but I had no idea how he was going to get out of this. The first time I saw it, I definitely remember thinking, I actually have no idea how he's going to get out of it. And we'll get to the bathtub scene in a sec. But I just really wanted to kind of like highlight that. That was such a great conversation. And this is such a fantastic scene in ratcheting up tension, because it escalates so slowly but surely, right? First it's, the how long you been a pig, right? And then let me see your gun. Here's my gun kind of thing. And then there's nothing out there for you, right? He goes to the kitchen window, looks outside, Alonzo's not there. And then we get to, hey, pig, you ever had your shit pushed in?
Oh,
dude, that was, and I'd never heard it like phrased like that before. I remember the first time I watched it, and I was like, yeah, I was like, wait, shit pushed. Oh, shit pushed in. Okay.
Well, and I'm wondering, I'm like, are these guys like, wait, are these guys like the sisters from Shawshank? I stopped for a second. I was like, this is weird. But yeah, I mean, and it really just shows to like, all these guys have been in a federal penitentiary, and have probably, these guys are not getting fucked though. These guys are fucking people,
right?
And that's,
these guys are the fuckers, not the fuckies. Yeah.
Right. I love Smiley. He's like, oh yeah, man, I get lots of love from it's very sarcastic and like, I definitely do. But yeah, there's something very, I mean, do I really think these guys are going to go out back and fucking rape him? Like, no, not really. No. But I don't put it beyond them. It's definitely a possibility somebody is going to do something, Well,
yeah, I don't think that they're going to take him out back and fuck him, because Smiley strikes me as someone who he's got rules, right? I mean, like when he lets him go, he says it's just business. Like, I don't think that it's just going to be like, this was just a straight up murder. But we also like hear from Smiley a bit more about Alonzo, right? Like, he doesn't shake his hand. He doesn't trust him. Alonzo killed a connected Russian and has until midnight tonight to pay them $1 million, right? This is the finale of the story. This is like, now we know everything. We've got all the pieces of the puzzle. We know why everything's happened in the movie the way they have. Dude, I can't go past Raymond Cruz's amazing delivery. Yeah, I had my shit pushed in, bro, big time. Yeah. Oh my god, dude, I love it.
I just expected the camera to pull out, and it was like Terry Crews fucking him, just like, but yeah,
that's too much testosterone in one room, man.
Dude, well, what kills me too is the fact that like, what is with the game of like, fucking with him too. Like, I would just take him in the bathtub and shoot him and be done with it. Like, I don't get why, if it's just business, like, I don't get why we're kind of fucking with him. But I mean, I guess it's just, I think that Smiley really takes like, yeah, man, I'm going to fucking blow this guy's arm, do this. He's like, dude, I just want to kill this guy and be over with, because it's one more thing tying me to Alonzo.
That's
I just need to be done with.
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe they just have a flair for the dramatic. Who knows?
How much money do you think he paid him to kill? I don't know if it ever showed anything, but what do you think that stack is?
We never see it. I'm gonna guess it's something low, like really low.
Yeah,
like probably 100K, maybe even less than that, 50K.
You think in that stack there's that much? I just wondered. I don't know, because it's like, well, 10 of those bills is $1,000. So there's probably maybe 20 grand. Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of, I'd have to go back and look, but I wondered what the value of, like, you're not just killing some guy, you're killing a cop. Right. Like, that shit's going to get kind of tricky, man.
It doesn't feel like this is the first time that this has happened.
Oh, no.
Like, that's a scary part.
I think about this now and it's like, how was Alonzo going to explain this to people? Like, how is he going to explain, oh, yeah, we went to the wrong neighborhood and I dropped him off and he never came back? And it's like, I mean, I'm sure he makes up something like, hey, after we busted these guys, he is a virgin shooter. He went crazy, he went into the wrong neighborhood. Like, I wonder what Alonzo's explanation of this is, or even if he even has to come up with one, That's
a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what it would have been. But I try, like, I think he is smart enough and proficient enough to come up with something. Probably.
Hell yeah, for sure.
So this is bad news for Jake, right? When we get to the bathtub, this is such amazing acting from Hawk. This is his, like, because he was nominated for an Oscar for this. This is his nomination right here, right? I mean, when he finds the wallet, Hawk pieces it all together. And man, my favorite moment of this is he's just like, oh, fuck, I found it in MacArthur Park. It's that oh, fuck for me that really makes it, because he's like, oh, shit, he found the wallet. Like, oh, fuck. Like, I love it so much.
This is such a small thing, but like, because I watched the Tim Curry Pennywise, Stephen King, I watched him at such a young age. I really, it's like an unjustified phobia of mine. I don't like my feet touching drains. Like in the shower, hell no. Fuck that. Like, I don't like walking over storm drains. I don't like walking over drains, period. So to see Ethan Hawke's head so close to that drain, it actually kind of gives me more anxiety than the three guys about to kill him.
Oh my God.
And it just kind of drives me. It's such a phobia of mine that I'm like, oh, that fucking weirds me out, dude. Like, just seeing his head that close, it's like, dude, you could just see a clown hand pull up and grab him by the face. It's like, it scares the fucking shit out of me, dude. And I'm like, not the three guys with the shotgun, like, we're gonna blow your fucking dick off. And it's like,
for me, it's the level of detail. Like, it feels like they are pushing that barrel really hard into his cheek. Like, like to the point that you can see his cheek kind of like forming around the barrel. And it's just like, oh man, that looks brutal. Like, it just all adds to it. And so they verify the story after a while of the girl, like, trying to lie for a bit and get out of it. But they let him go, saying that this was just business. Now, I don't think that this is Ex Machina, Deus Ex Machina. Like, like, I don't, like, I can see how someone could possibly make that argument that this is just like, oh, it's very convenient kind of thing. But I think that this is genuinely the story that Fuqua and Aya are trying to tell, right? So whereas Alonzo's kind of like the way he treats people and the way he acts and the way he thinks of them comes back around to bite him in the ass. The way that Jake leaps into action and saves this girl ends up helping him, like, so it's just kind of like these kind of like two mirror opposites, and the way of policing that they kind of like go about it really ends up kind of informing the way their characters end up at the end of the movie, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's not a Deus Ex Machina if that's the intention of the movie, like all the way through, kind of thing.
Right. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe not Deus Ex Machina. It does make the world feel a little smaller that they live in. And it also, I love David Ayer. He's like, yeah, because I mean, like, don't they all know each other? Like, You know, and just watch David Ayer be like, oh, that's not true. Like,
Right.
they don't all know each other. Him having to explain, like, makes me think of King of the Hill when Hank meets like another Laotian guy. He's like, hey, my neighbor's Laotian. Do you know a guy named Khan? And it's like, oh my God. But yeah, it does make the world feel a little bit smaller. But, you know, just a big family, you know, who fucking knows? Right. Yeah, it could also be like, hey, you know, maybe this isn't my cousin, but this is like my sister's best friend or something. You know, like it wouldn't surprise me just because they're kind of staying in a very central location.
Yeah,
you know,
well, I'd imagine that like if Alonzo is this confident of a cop, then I'd imagine that he is policing a area that is not that big, right? I mean, like he knows it pretty intimately. He knows the people very intimately. So I feel like they're kind of like roaming around the same kind of like not one neighborhood, maybe a couple of neighborhoods, if that makes sense.
Sure, yeah. He's not quite a beat cop, but he's definitely got a beat.
Right, exactly. 100%. So, dude, the look on Hawk's face as he sits there on the bus before like loading his pistol is amazing. Like dude, it's fucking terrifying. Like the way we zoom in on him very slowly. It's awesome.
Yeah. I could definitely see some like Patrick Bateman in that, you know.
I am so excited to see Hawk as a villain in Moon Knight, this Moon Knight TV show coming up.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I want to see it. He waltzes into Alonzo's neighborhood like the goddamn Punisher, and man, but like you get the sense that this is now moved beyond just simply arresting Alonzo or confronting him even. Right. I mean, like he actually had him set up to be murdered. Right. He also I'm sorry. Well, that and like there's something too about I think once they see him walk into the neighborhood by himself, there's a good reason why he's not just shot on sight because like, wait, that's Alonzo's guy. So like, A, we might kill him and piss off Alonzo, or B, what is this white boy doing by himself? Like, is there something like maybe we can exploit to get rid of him? Like there is this kind of this like unspoken like. Well, that's what happens here, right? I mean, like he gets stopped by these guys, including Terry Crews. But when Jake says that he's here for Alonzo, they step aside. They don't say any words or anything like that. They don't give him any confirmation or affirmation or anything like that. It's just like, I'm here for Alonzo. Come right through.
Right, exactly.
Jake gets the kid out of harm's way before heading to the bedroom where the entire heterosexual audience loses concentration for this entire scene because, goddamn.
Well, this kid is... I was going to say, this fucking kid is so goddamn adorable because he like throws the rocks. The kid comes to the window. He waves.
Can
and the
you
kid's
not
like,
talk about the kid while I'm jacking off right now, please?
I didn't really notice until he whips that little ponytail around. I was like, oh, we got a Padawan up in here. Oh, shit. I was like, I never really caught that the first time. But he's just, God, he's such a sweet kid. You know, this kid is like nothing. And it's kind of this weird... It feels like, you know, a pearl in the middle of all this ink, just the sweet, innocent, like one of the only people in this movie who's 100% innocent.
100% pure.
Yeah, it's so great. Yes, and to see him just kind of surrounded by all of this is really jarring, you know?
Yeah, can we talk about our ass already, please?
Yeah.
This definitely kind of like got me. I mean, I was young enough and you know, horned up enough, and I'm just like, oh, that's Eva Mendes.
Oh, hell
naked.
yeah.
Like, okay.
Oh, hell awesome. Yeah. I've definitely looked at like a grid of pictures that was frame by frame and be like, I was 13 with LimeWire.
Oh, my God. I love Alonzo trying to weasel himself out of this one too, right? Congratulations, Jake. You passed the test. You're a narc. You made it. Oh, it's like this last ditch effort, right? But it, like Jake's just not having it. You know, you can fuck your appointment with the Russians. You're not going to make it, says Jake. Alonzo reminds Jake that it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And taking his opportunity in the split second that Jake looks away, Alonzo flicks his cigarette into his face and... Dude, can we talk about the beneath the bed shotgun? Because
wow,
damn,
that's another level of paranoia. Oof. To keep a load, like you're so paranoid, you keep a loaded swivel shotgun under your bed. Where you know your child. I mean, as a kid, I would play it under my parents' bed, played hide and seek, shit. Like that's fucking scary,
that's insane, man. That is like
That's how little. that's how little he gives a shit about this kid,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it does kind of make me think of that. Like, do I think he might like this kid or love this kid? Like, to an extent, but it's like, it's his version of love.
Right.
It's not our version of
Well,
love.
he's got 3 others, right? I mean, they can be replaced.
Right, yeah. He's like, nah, whatever.
They get into a bit of a cat and mouse here, right? Like Jake looks after the kid who gets caught in the middle of the crossfire while Alonzo makes a break for it. We get a bit of hand-to-hand on the roof. Alonzo thinks he's gotten the best of Jake until Jake jumps onto his car while making his getaway. Dude, Alonzo crashes into all of the cars on the street before Jake apprehends him, resulting in the entire state of California waking up in the middle of the night to check on the commotion. Like, it's just like, holy shit, you're gonna crash into everything? You almost missed that one.
Yeah. Well, that's when I started seeing everybody come out of the house and stuff. It's like, dude, this is where it's turning into like Roadhouse. I was like, this is where it's feeling like everybody walks up with a shotgun. Like, everybody has a shotgun and they all shoot them once.
Yeah. I personally love this finale, dude. Like, this is I like that it's this battle of morals and philosophy. Like, you know, like, I love that Alonzo's first move is to try and use his clout, his reputation to his advantage, right? Like, he's just like, who's gonna, like, you know, I'll give you money to kill this guy, whatever. But he's basically like the equivalent of like a malevolent dictator, like someone who keeps taking away from people and, you know, believes that he has them under their thumb. He doesn't give back in any positive way.
Yeah.
He's just
right.
Yeah, go.
No, I was going to say, this feels like, instead of him being like, you know, any one of these guys jumping up and, you know, hell, they won't even take money for it.
Exactly.
You know, that's the crazy thing, is it's more beneficial for the community for you to be gone than for one individual to kill this guy. So yeah, there is something interesting about it where it's like, again, it's like Scar with the hyenas at the end of Lion King. You know, there's something about that where, again, you know, he doesn't look any of these people and go, you know, oh, hey, Pete, or, you know, John, or whoever, like somebody, like my friend, like, help me. And it's like, dude, you don't have any fucking friends. Like, you don't have shit. I think even the guys who were in like your little crooked squad wouldn't have shit to do with this, because they don't care. You know, there's no loyalty there.
Well, I mean, like, it all comes down to the log line of the movie, and it's just how you treat people, right? I mean, like, it's just Jake treats people like they're people because, you know, he's green on this job, and whether it's the fact that he doesn't have as much experience as a police officer as Alonzo, that he hasn't been kind of like dirtied up yet, that he's able to treat people like the way that he does, maybe that's a factor. But the very fact that Alonzo treats people like they are under him and beneath him, and, you know, I only interact with these people because I have to, right? Because I live amongst them, right? Like, it's just, it's awesome. It's fantastic. I love the way this plays out. Yeah,
it's great too. And there's, you know, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but yeah, well, the ending makes sense to me, because it's like, you're right. I can't kill you. I can't just sit here and shoot Alonzo dead, because they will get my blood. They will get my piss. They will find out I have PCP. Like, they will find out all the shit. So, like, it's kind of feels like Batman Begins. I don't have to save you, but I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you either. It's like, I can, instead of, you know, it's almost like this perfect circle that's ending. And if you don't fuck with it, the circle will complete the circuit, you know? No,
I love it. Absolutely. 100%. But then Alonzo plays the "you can't kill a cop" card, right? And dude, Jake should have dropped him when he reached inside his pocket to get his badge, right? I mean, like, dude.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, that is I don't know what you think you're doing there, bud, but you got to pull that trigger. So this is the Oscar moment from Washington, right? I mean, like, this is him acting, and this is him acting big, right? I mean, like, the one guy walks out, he's like, you got to twist it, homie. You got to put your own work in around here. Puts down the gun. Jake's begging him not to pick up the gun, and he shoots him in the ass. Ah, you motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, I love that when he's talking to him and he's like, you know, Jake, this is my money. Like, let me go home. And I love, he's finally like, you want to go to jail or you want to go home? And it's like, oh, that's so good, man. I love that twist.
It's outstanding.
You know, Well, and the conversation there too is just like the desperation and Denzel of him being like, you've got to give me this money. I just want to go, and it kind of cracks me up because
give me the money, Jake.
Jake's like,
give me the money.
Yeah. Well, and Jake's like, I'm gonna go and book it into evidence, and I'm like, here's the thing, you don't have to book all of that into evidence. That's all I'm saying. Like, you've had a rough day. If someone's like, hey, he took home $64,000, I'd be like, cool, he deserves it. He just had a crazy like that. Okay, maybe he'll take 64 instead of suing the fucking department for $1 billion for getting this crazy motherfucker having this guy on the team.
The city's just like, hey, you can take it, bud. You're good,
right?
So he leaves Alonzo to the hood, right? I mean, like this is like he takes his badge, right? You're no cop, which is insanely satisfying, right? It's just it's awesome. And then we get into this big ass Denzel rant, right? Oh, you motherfuckers. You think you can do this to me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I'm through with you.
I love it. I'm going to put cases on all you motherfuckers.
Dude, I'm the police. I run shit here. You just live here. King Kong ain't got shit on me. It's awesome, dude, man.
Here's what fucked me up too is like I always saw the edited version of that.
Oh.
So it was always King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Okay. And I believe that's the edited line, but I kind of like that better. I kind of like King Kong has nothing on me. Like, because there's something, I mean, you can say shit or nothing or whatever, but I guess it's just because I heard nothing for so long, but I like that line. So King Kong has nothing on me. And it's like, damn, apparently improvised.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, again, it's kind of like that. I am the eater of this fucking world. Like I am top alpha dog around here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like this I have no doubt is the scene that made Washington win his Oscar. I mean, like, he made Oscar history as the first African American actor to win 2 Oscars, and this is the scene. This is the scene that really drove it home.
What really does it for me? You know what? It's funny. This movie's becoming it's the this for me. It's the that for me. It's becoming that thing. It's the moment of him putting the cigarette in his mouth and the camera shot in just a way as he looks sideways and he's kind of like and he's laughing and you see Eva Mendes upstairs take I think they call him like Alfonso Lito or something like I can't remember the son's name. Right. It's something very similar to Denzel's name, but seeing him and she takes the kid away. And to me, that felt like Mickey Rourke and like The Wrestler when he looks up and sees Marissa Tomei is gone from like from the little clearing up there. Which I don't know how true this is, but I read that Fuqua wanted Mickey Rourke to be Roger and they refused it because I guess he was doing crazy shit at the time. And it's like, I love Scott Glenn, but I'd so be down to see Mickey Rourke eat this shit up, man.
A younger Mickey Rourke. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down.
So we're kind of like closing things off here, right? Alonzo gets absolutely capped by the Russians. I mean, I don't love the way this goes down. I mean, like there's no one else on the street. This is LA after all.
Right. Come on.
And this is such a public shooting, and like I know that the Russians, if this were to happen, would want to send a message. The way that he dies is also kind of comical. Like his arms is,
it's goofy.
It's a little goofy, but I'm sure they could have workshopped it a little bit more. But I do like the woman, like kind of like pulling up to the red light, right? And then that's his chance to hand over the money, and he physically can't hand over the money, right? And then she kind of like reverses up, and he gets ambushed. And then Jake goes home safe and sound, right?
Yeah, that's something that kills me too. Is like I think it's goofy watching him get shot to pieces, but I do love him crawling out of the car and like I know this is such a random thing, but Denzel's footwork of like his body, like it's like, dude, how are you not like snapping your ankles? It's like I don't see how you're doing that, and it is goofy as shit. And I try to wonder like what would be a better like sending a message, and it's like I feel like Russian mobsters would be like, we cut out your heart and put on your forehead, and it's like some crazy
Tenet
shit,
is like we'll take you out the back and cut a small hole through your throat, then cut off your balls and jam the balls in that throat hole. That's Tenet's one.
Right, yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so something like that, you know?
Yeah, totally. But yeah, man, that's the movie. Okay, and here's another thing. Jake goes home, and you realize that this has only taken place over one day, right? I mean, it's literally training day. So, like, all of this happened in one day. Can you imagine Jake going home? What's the first thing that he does? Probably has a shower to scrub all the shit off him, to be honest.
Dude, I gotta be honest. This day, I'd just come home and cry. I'd definitely just lay down and cry. And it's like, I can't do this shit. Because I wonder, and it's like, the thing is, I still think Jake is, I mean, he's not completely scot-free. Like, Dr. Dre and all these cops that have made a lot of money with Alonzo are like, you just took $250,000 worth of, potential money in the future. You just ruined a lot of shit for me. And it's like, I don't think that you're out of the way. Like, you need to move is what I'm saying. You need to get the fuck out and go live in Iowa or somewhere. And get the fuck out of here.
Move over to Australia, dude. Like, get your ass over here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I kind of wish, like, if I could change anything, if you asked me, like, hey, take a crack at this script or whatever, I would love to see basically, oh my God, Hoyt kind of come to the realization of like, A, I can't be a cop here. I could never be a cop here with this kind of level of corruption. But then B, I can't live here anymore. Like, these people are going to kill me, and I'm taking $180,000 and I'm going to Australia and I'm getting the fuck out of here. It's like, yeah, cool. I'd definitely be down for that.
Can you imagine if Hoyt moves to fucking, what is it, Minneapolis in 2020? Is it Minneapolis or Minnesota?
Oh, God.
Where was it? Minneapolis, right?
Yeah. I believe it's Minneapolis.
And he's just like, yep, on my first day today, should be good. Should be fine.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, that and the crazy thing is it is Minneapolis. I had to Google that. The crazy thing is, when you see him get out of the car, like the door behind him opens, like there's a car parked like right there in front of his house, and it's a silver like Mercedes or BMW or something.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
You can very clearly see the car behind him. And I even thought I was like, why is a car parked at this time of night in front of his house, basically? And when he gets out, the car door opens, and then it just cuts to him going inside. It's a deleted scene. It's the three wise men sitting in the car, and they get out, and they're like, hey, they get out, and they're like, hey, where's Alonzo? And they're like, he's dead. Like, where's his money? And he's like, I have it booked into evidence. And the three wise men are like, what? Like, yeah, I booked into the evidence. If you want to go get it. And they just get pissed and drive off. And apparently, from what I read, they just thought the scene was redundant and they didn't need, it in there. But it's very glaring now. You can definitely see the door open up behind him.
I read that there were several endings. I didn't see that one, but apparently one ending had Alonzo getting away with his crimes, and Washington was just straight up like, no, like that's not this story that we're telling, right? And then another had Jake confronting Alonzo, and Alonzo killed himself to avoid facing punishment. Which,
yeah, I read about that one too.
Could have worked if you could have done it, probably, but yeah.
I'd prefer to see him get away with it.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, the suicide thing is kind of like, well, okay, that's anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I think I'd much rather see Alonzo like, you think that's kind of the point. I feel like of this is like, yeah, you might get away. You might think that truth and justice and all this stuff really works, and it does to an extent. But when you're almost too big to fail at this level,
Yeah, I like that. That's training day.
Hell yeah,
this has been on my list for a very long time. I remember mentioning this to you probably a couple years ago. Honestly, I was like, man, we gotta cover training day. It was a great episode, man. I had a lot of fun. We have a couple of comments before we get into closing thoughts.
I call Jose.
Yeah, go hit me.
I've been wanting to read this off all week. Let me see here. Let me get up. Jose. Okay, so Jose Rivera in the after party. Jose.
Green room member.
I feel like every week this guy is always bringing it, and I fucking love it. Thank you so much, Jose. You want to know how big this movie was? I was working at Blockbuster when it was about to come out on VHS and DVD. It was the least well-kept secret that we got new releases in the back 2 weeks before they were supposed to come out. So they got them 2 weeks early, I guess. I had regular customers and not so regular customers asking if we had it early and offering me up to $100 to let them get a rental copy or a rental copy, not an own.
Hold up. Jose, you gotta channel your inner Perez and take that shit, dude.
Yes.
You gotta
give them a copy of like a Training Day, and it's just like a 1970s like B movie or something. Offer me $100 to let them get a rental copy early. This wasn't possible because we couldn't let anything out before its street date. I guess in anticipation, the company sent the bulk of the sale and rental copies to the store the night before it came out to prevent this kind of thing. Needless to say, it was a nightmare the next day as everyone came for the movie and quite a few DVDs and VHS copies were stolen. I get Vietnam flashbacks thinking about this movie, but it was all worth it for the story, the characters, and oh yes, that Eva Mendes scene. Don't act like you all didn't pause and rewind that part.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love it. I love it, Jose. Well done, dude. I love it.
Yes, love
I've got
it.
one from Rick, and then I guess I'll finish it off with Ken Tomlin, who has a short one as well. Rick says, Training Day is such an exceptional / timeless movie. I think it's up there with Scarface and Heat among my favorite crime movies. Yeah, man.
Nice.
For me, okay, look, if I'm ranking crime movies, I think Heat is the pinnacle. Like, I mean, you know, like you probably have Heat and then The Dark Knight kind of like edged like side by side somewhat. You know, other movies I'd put up there is like LA Confidential. I love LA Confidential. You know, The Town. We've already covered The Town. Movies like that. I think this is, you know, and like those are 10s, but this is kind of like 9.5. Like, you know, this is really good stuff for me. You know, it's one of those movies that you watch on a second watch and you can just see that Alonzo is coaxing Jake the whole way. He's placating him the whole way. He's playing him like a fiddle, and it's awesome. And then Ken Tomlin says, amazing movie. I mean, yeah, right? I mean, it's
short and
it's
sweet.
fantastic,
True.
dude. Colin, give me your closing thoughts and then we'll head out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I think like what you said, it's not quite, I'll be honest, since Rick kind of brought up Scarface, I do not like Scarface. I think it's one of the most overrated movies ever made. And I'm not going to say that I don't enjoy watching it from time to time just because Al Pacino is like, he does a great job in that. I think Michelle Pfeiffer does a great job. There's a lot of really, really great performances in that. And I mean, Scarface alone it's worth Scarface existing because it basically made Vice City happen. So I'm like, okay, cool. And there are parts of Scarface that I do enjoy, but it has become this like machismo 17-year-old white boy who thinks he's a badass, like kind of shit.
I have a poster in my room really, kind of thing. Yeah.
Dude, especially fucking white boys from the South where I live, dude, oh my God, like, it makes me almost hate Scarface. And same thing with Training Day. And I think that might have been one of the reasons why I stayed away from this for a long time, because a lot of people that I just did not like, and people who I thought were kind of morons really, really paraded this movie around. And they don't parade it around for the reasons I enjoy it. And there are, you know, they like, oh man, he makes a cop smoke, you know, this, no, there's shootings. Oh, you see Eva Mendes naked, and all that stuff is awesome. But there's just something kind of about the story of, you know, and we can even talk a little bit about Scott Glenn's joke of like, is the joke the fact that like the streets are the man and the cop is the snail and it doesn't matter what you do and blah, blah, blah. And I actually used to tell people that joke a long time ago, and I didn't even realize it was in this movie. And I think I heard it on like the Aristocrats movie with all the comedians. Yeah. I think I heard it there. But I definitely think that this movie is leaps and bounds better than Scarface. And like you said, it's not quite a Heat. It's not quite that level of you know, heist kind of movie, but I don't think it's supposed to be. I think the scale of which it is at of, you know, only a handful of characters, only a handful of locations. I mean, if you cast this, what do you think this budget would be if they had to cast like no name actors in this when it came out? Probably 10. 15 million.
Micro.
It definitely wouldn't have cost $40 million.
Right. And this is Fuqua's second movie, right? I mean, like he is not the established director that directed the Magnificent Seven remake or The Equalizer with Denzel or Olympus Has Fallen. Like, you know, he's not that established director yet. I liked Olympus. Olympus is good.
Oh, you couldn't pay me to watch that shit, dude. I don't know what it is just about those movies. But all in all, I'm glad to finally
That's the first one and the good one.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. But I'm glad to finally kind of scratch this off. There's a long list of movies like that where it's like Apocalypse Now, Full Metal Jacket. There's like a lot of big movies that I've heard about for a long time that I never really got around to watching. So it is always nice to always have one of these that I am forced to watch it and check it off. But at the same time, that movie, it's kind of sad when you see those movies go off that list and you're like, oh shit. Like, right. I never watched The Godfather 2, and finally I have. No, I have. It's a great movie.
Disappoint me, Fred.
But all in all, I really enjoyed it. It's I'd say probably like an 8 out of 10 for me. It's very, very close to being a damn fine movie. And it is a damn fine movie, but it's so close to perfection almost. It's almost there. But I think that, part of it is, and some of this is timeless. The Monte Carlo, the car he drives is timeless. There's really, I bet the only thing that really dates this movie is pagers. Yeah. But beyond that, there is some kind of like stilted, parts I feel like that are just maybe that has something to do with the screenwriting, or maybe just has something to do that it's not 2001 anymore. But it definitely holds up for the most part,
I think I've always found police corruption, like as a theme, as a storyline, as a plot point, really interesting in movies. And like they've always kind of like stuck out to me a lot. Like I've always loved that kind of stuff, like the whole idea of police corruption and like how far it goes, and like who sanctions what, whether it's the police commissioner or the mayor or like even the goddamn president
who watches the Watchmen.
Right, exactly. And like I've always found that stuff kind of really interesting. So when you have a movie like Training Day that's all it's focused on, right? You have a greenhorn, a fresh as the daisy cop coming into the things and like coming into the system and experiencing it for the first time, and what he would, like how he would experience for the first time, what he would perceive, what he would miss, what he wouldn't see, what he would, like what he would act upon. All of that stuff is really kind of like really, really fun to watch. And it's really awesome to watch Ethan Hawke's portrayal as Jake reacting to these crazy and lunatic like moments. Because like everything ramps up in terms of scale, right? Like we just start off with like a low level kind of like drug bust at the beginning, and then we end up with murder, right? And it's just like, like if Denzel's character is like, if I give him an inch, is he going to take a mile? Can he take a mile? And like all of that is just so brilliant to watch, and it's so well executed. The movie is so fantastically led by these two amazing actors and two amazing performances. And I don't like, sometimes you get movies that are like the performances are better than the movie. I don't necessarily think that. I think the movie, the script, the actual script is as good as the acting. Sometimes the dialogue in this movie is a little shaky, but what can you do? But I think, it's a fantastic and compelling movie from start to finish. Denzel's performance is amazing. Ethan Hawke's performance is fantastic as well. It's a really, really damn fine movie. I really, really dug this movie. I don't think it's, perfect like I used to think it. But I think it's held up pretty well. Pretty well.
Dude, let me tell you something funny really quick. I just happened to look at Scott Glenn's filmography, and there was something called Gargoyles from like 1972. And I was like, not Gargoyles, like the Disney show. And I clicked, and it is actually kind of like that. Like it's a Gargoyles was a made-for-television fantasy horror film from 1972. It was the first film to feature the makeup work of special effects artist Stan Winston.
Whoa.
I was like, whoa. And I was like, for which he shared the 1973 Emmy Award for Outstanding Achievement in Makeup.
Oh, damn.
I was like, that's crazy. But then it also made me think 1973, it's like, so the Emmys had awards for special effects before film did. Yeah. Because American Werewolf in London's like 81. Yeah. So that's they beat them by almost a decade. I was like, that's fucking crazy, man. I was like, but the first person to ever, what was that? Rick Baker for American Werewolf. He was the first person to win it. Yeah. But do you have any tag socials when we can get out of here?
Yeah, tag socials, dude. Let's get out of here.
Hell yeah, dude. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Obviously, you know, we can tag socials, but we have another show as well. I know we've tagged the Green Room, but we also have Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. If you are a fan of Breaking Bad and, you know, you've seen it a bunch of times, or if you've never seen it before, you can watch this or listen to it episode by episode. Basically the premise of the show, the gimmick, if you will. I've never seen Breaking Bad. We do it episode by episode. We're a couple of seasons in now. We're really not that far. But if you're a first timer and you want to experience it with me, you can do that. Or if you've watched it a bunch of times and you want to mock me because I don't know what, you know, Zoheb loves watching it and I go, I think this is going to happen. And then see him go, oh, I don't know. And then like next week it happened.
I'm a terrible liar, by the way. I'm such a bad liar.
I have to stop asking questions early on because I'm like, if I prod too much, I'm going to hit something. I'm going to hit a mine. But check that out. It's called Bad Crystal. Stop by, rate and review that on iTunes. The show's been doing really well lately. I'm very, very happy about that. And it's like I said, it's totally free. Stop by, rate, review us on iTunes. Same thing with main feed, Green Room, MidnightDoubleFeature.com is where you can really find any of our socials. Or if you want to sign up for the Green Room, it's patreon.com/MidnightDoubleFeature. Stop by, rate, review us on iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. You can find us on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature, on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. You can find us on Twitter at MDF Pod. Shoot us an email, midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. Or, like I said, please stop by and rate us on iTunes. If you don't have $5, I get it. World's crazy right now, but rating shit is free. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're in anywhere that you want to listen to your podcast, and we will be in your ears next time. See you guys later.